I like that.
Roller coaster, wanna let it stop like that, yeah, and it's not that.
Flexin', flexin', flexin'. Follow when the kid like stop, like why you keep asking the same question?
Grizzly going crazy, nigga.
Roller coaster motor at the stoplight, catch me at the finish line flexing. Following the kid like a spotlight, why you keep asking the same questions? Roller coaster motor at the stoplight, catch me at the finish line flexing. Following the kid like a spotlight, why you keep asking the same questions? I remember going to school, never had the latest shoes. You was raised to make it cool, I was raised to make a move. We was playing with different bags, so I kept getting shitted on. It was motivation, telling myself stay patient. Package touchdown, gotta relocate it. If that body got took down, guess it was donated. Plug ain't from round town, but we both native. Yeah, sliding with my body, I got a Joe waiting. Can't let these hoes spend the night, ain't got no home training. Heard your damn mixtape, gave it a low rating. Yeah, streets reply, I look right in a Mercedes. Creep at night, the city lights going brave. She popping it like that is meant for, can't be no road and extendo. Bitch, I put me in the friend zone till she see me in the end zone. Hoes calling from other zip code, trapping hard, I need a flip on this, the new pack, the last one been gone. Coastal motor at the stoplight, catch me at the finish line flexing. Following the kid like a spotlight, why you keep asking the same questions? Roller coaster motor at the stoplight, catch me at the finish line flexing. Following the kid like a spotlight, why you keep asking the same questions? Stepping out cool, rock and roll my watch and shoes. They scream wave, ain't bring a pool. Mainstream thing to scream my moves. Jack hit me up like gotta leave round 2. Know what's going on, man, you need it come through. I'm the neighborhood superintendent. Dogs in the den, got the cushion in the kitchen. Look here, baby, I'm on real time. Needle in a haystack, but still shine. Wave guard, grill gold like a face guard. I did a bid and tell them wait for it. Grill gold like a face guard. I did a bid and tell them wait, tell them.
Roller coaster motor at the stoplight, catch me at the finish line flexing. Following the kid like a spotlight, why you keep asking the same questions? Roller coaster motor at the
Go out the way just to help my position.
Out this world
Go out the way just to help my position. When I was broke, I just knew I would get it. That hate shit you want ain't no good for my spirit. It is what it is, I got tired of forgiving. Mouth full of ghost crackers smiling and glisten. Out with the old, my phone jumping this Wednesday. Knew I was special, just needed to listen. Lift up a latch and detaching the ceiling. Super Dushani, the motherfucking greatest. This my new rental, don't care, I drag racing. In your apartment, I'm popping the latest. Started finessing, so that's how we played it. Stepped envelopes, got it right on my brothers. No competition, we shine with each other. So many nights had my mind in the gutter. Mama told me like, boy, keep it together. Link with a big booty freak, it's whatever. Bet like a ring, we ain't cutting, we wrestle. Call my connect, need a package of pressure. Mind on my money, you know how I'm stepping. Take your advice, but I really ain't need it. You in my presence, 1K, how you keep it? Act like a star so they don't treat me basic. Bills late, niggas start getting creative. Go out the way just to help my position. When I was broke, I just knew I would get it. That hate shit you want ain't no good for my spirit. It is what it is, I got tired of forgiving. Mouth full of ghost crackers smiling and glisten. Out with the old, my phone jumping this Wednesday. Knew I was special, just needed to listen. Lift up a latch and detaching the ceiling. Super Dushani, the motherfucking greatest. This my new rental, don't care, I drag racing. In your apartment, I'm popping the latest. Started finessing, so that's how we played it. I'm detaching the ceiling. Mouth full of ghost crackers smiling and glisten. Out with the old mouth on jumping this Wednesday. Go out the is what it is. I got tired of forgiving. It is what it is. I get high in a minute. I'll call you back in a minute. Too busy chasing blue engine.
That's when you cold. Good gas in the old. Run me up out. I'm steady. You can tell how I walk. Taste you some cold. It ain't my fault, I got it off. Trap out the low, package dropped off. Gas make you cough, straight out the soul. Grill in my mouth, yo. It ain't my fault. Cameras active, watching over my house. End up in the club, trying to chase you some clout. Designer stepping, you can tell how I walk. Don't know no better, yeah. It ain't my fault, I got it off. Trapped out the low, package dropped off. Gas make you cough, straight out the south. Grill in my mouth, yeah. No, it ain't my fault. Cameras active, watching over my house. End up in the club, trying to chase you some clout. Designer stepping, you can tell how I walk. Don't know no better, yeah. Cancel myself, these niggas some faggots. Changing the reins, hitting with bag. I don't wanna know more. Look goofy, I had it. Say they can't see me, go get them a tablet. What in the hell? Who told you go start painting your nails? Way God dangerous with scales. Bit off a piece, I feel well. Say that you need me, I'm near. Do not be greedy, be fair. That's my dog, that's my jack. Say slime, say slack. Way God, boy, you got cushion that sack. On the paper chase, don't ask where I'm at. Got 2 for 15, got 2 for 25. Tryna get up in the mix, better watch it online. She just had something fruit booty emoji. Tryna interrupt this doobie on road. It ain't my fault, I got it off. Trap out the low, package dropped off. Gas make you cough, straight out the salt. Grill in my mouth, yeah. It ain't my fault. Cameras active, watching over my house. End up in the club, trying to chase you some clout. Designer stepping, you can tell how I walk. Don't know no better, yeah. It ain't my fault, I got it off. Trapped out the low, package dropped off. Gas make you cough, straight out the south. Grill in my mouth, yeah. No, it ain't my fault. Cameras active, watching over my house. End up in the club, trying to
Reuben, what's goody?
I'm chilling, bro. What's good? What's good with it?
Come on, man. It's showtime.
Already.
It is showtime. And Lucifer right on motherfucking key. Right on key. We got both of the fighters in the goddamn building. Hey, man, first thing I want to do, I want to say thank you to everybody who pulled up. You know what I'm saying? Thank you to both of the debaters for putting their work in, putting their time in with their PowerPoints and presentation. You know what I'm saying? This right here is not something you can just come off the street and do. You know what I'm saying? You got to have a little bit of intellect, you know what I'm saying? A little bit of research skills. So with that being said, powerful bills only. I would like to let y'all know right now is the perfect time to roll your blunts. Right now is the perfect time to get your popcorn. Right now is the perfect time to get your ooh-wee and your yak. You know what I'm saying? Because it's about to go down. 2 heavyweight fighters in the building. Did I tell you both of these guys are undefeated? Did I tell you both of these guys are undefeated? So yeah, man, it is going down. First thing we're gonna do to get this show started, you know what I'm saying? It is 7 o'clock on the dot. I appreciate both of the debaters for their efficiency. You know what I'm saying? We actually on time like a motherfucker. I appreciate both debaters for that. We're about to get into this motherfucking information. First thing we're gonna do is introduce both of the debaters. King, let the people know where you hail from, what you gonna do tonight, and this ain't even the introduction. You know what I'm saying? Just to just let the people know where you come from and what's going on tonight. This ain't your intro, both of y'all. Just introducing ourselves.
I guess he stepped away.
All right, go ahead, Yashub. You can go first.
Y'all already know what it is, man. It's Lucifer, Big Satan, nigga. Yap Gang representative. I know exactly what's gonna happen tonight. I'm gonna tell y'all what y'all can expect. Afrocentricity about to get a big, good old motherfucking 5-finger special to the face. I'm about to leave a red handprint on the face of Afrocentricity, man. So this gonna hurt everybody that believe in Diop, old banger, all these pseudos from the past, these pseudo motherfuckers from the past, teaching that Africa, that Egypt is somehow supposed to be this sub-Saharan African repository. I'm about to whoop ass. I'm about to put my foot so far up this man's ass, man. So I can't wait, man. What are the judges, man? I'm ready to go right now. You hear me?
Hey, we gonna go right now. I'm gonna name the judges. I told them don't hop on the panel. You know what I'm saying? Cause I don't want no interruptions type shit. I'm gonna name all the judges real quick. I got Kyle is one of the judges. G, my homie G, an atheist. He always been on the show. He one of the judges. Uncle Harold is the judge. Ben, he a Black Hebrew. I think he was a part of Barbarian one time. He a judge. Sar M. Ka. I got Jose Misery being a judge. Apollo and Ya. And I'm also, so that's, hold up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I got 8 judges, and we're gonna do the poll. You know what I'm saying? 8 judges and the poll. Y'all cool with that?
Man, I heard some Egyptian names, but all right.
He said I heard some Egyptian.
I heard some Egyptian, some fake black Egyptians.
Asar M. Ka is.
And I heard a Black Hebrew Israelite. You know, they pseudos, man. That's good.
Oh man, it's
Yo. King Naga NWO. King Naga NWO representing Naga World Order. You heard me? This debate ain't about Afrocentricity, neither Eurocentricity. It's about the truth. You heard me? This boy about to take a beat down because these Eurasians are immigrants at a later date. Shout out to the Bar Reloaded. Shout out to Powerful Bills Only. Paradigm Shift TV 314. Stand up. You heard me? Man, let's get it. I'm ready.
Hey, shouts out to Uncle Larell. Shouts out to Hekara. Shouts out to the Bar Reloaded in this motherfucker. Shout out to Moray, Contentious Media. Shout out to Big Hemi in a motherfucking building. You know what I'm saying? It is about to go down. All right, let's get this go ahead and get this introduction. We good with a 3-minute introduction, or was it 2 minutes?
I thought that was the no, we got 3 rounds, but we got a little intro before that. I didn't know we was starting yet. You know, I thought you were just trying to buy for time.
Nah. You say you was ready to get out the bullpen, huh?
I am ready. So let him go ahead and finish his intro. Go ahead, Reuben.
Hey, now let's start it officially. Let's do the official intro. Cause that's how you wanted to say, Lucifer, for your intro. I know that I said just introduce yourself. You feel me? So we're gonna do the real intro. All right. Hey, Reuben, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right, brother. Go ahead, introduce yourself. This is the intro. And after both of y'all do y'all intro, we're going into the first round. You got the flow.
Hey, shout out to my people. You heard me? Y'all gonna y'all in tune for a treat. You heard me? This ought to be a good debate. You got 2 undefeated debaters going head to head. You know what I'm saying? And one thing I'm gonna say, Egypt is and always has been African. You know what I'm saying? And by the end of this debate, I'm gonna prove that thoroughly. From the Stone Age all the way to the Pharoanic period.
All right. Lucifer, you got the floor.
Reuben, he been hanging with JJ. He a dick sucker. All I keep is 40s and up. I'm a myth lover. All I keep is 40s and up. I'm a myth lover. Reuben versus a head buster. Necrophiliac. You dead fucker. Let's get something straight. Lemon squeeze on the Glock. I got it from Concentrate. If it's beef, it ain't nothing to contemplate. I whip out and bust inside like I'm trying to consummate. Reuben, I'm known for son of you niggas. I'm Republican. I don't fuck with none of you niggas. I already beat his ass, so it's gonna be worse than the first one. I feel like Jacob in the Bible. Reuben, my first son, but I'm gonna be a great dad. I'm gonna read to him and put my son to rest. Unload 15 into JJ to get my son to rest. Zeus letting that thunder press into my son to rest. They like Yashub. Don't you believe in the Bible? My pistol blowing. Ain't the Bible full of murder, sacrifice? Shit. I'm trying to keep the tradition going. Been trying to set this shit up for weeks. He talking about he a leader of his tribe. Like he ain't watched the Super Bowl. The Eagles prey on the Chiefs. Yashub versus Reuben. This about to be easy. Your entrails getting mopped by a sweet G. Your folks got to talk to you through a wee G. He get hit with some hot boy for trying to be G. Check the PowerPoint I been slide. These bitch niggas been hiding. How they got it? Now they gonna have to hang it up. Been lying. When Gorilla Hebrew was taking plastic dick, I was on YouTube dropping scholastic shit. When Gorilla Hebrew was being a masochist, fuck that nigga. I had to diss. This is like Lex Luthor versus the Man of Steel. I got great aim. I won't miss him, but his family will. And I'm at whoever. I might splat Sarnetta and pin you characters to the wall. It's the metal netter. Reuben be capping with the fakers, talking that AI shit like he forgot what happened with the Lakers. Y'all remember AI got shunned? The Lakers went on that magical run and went 15-1. Guess what the Glock hold? 15-1. Reuben, you done. I'ma aim where your weave at. You can't weave that. And somebody tell that bitch nigga JJ, I need that. I'm the Balfman, the fucking GOAT. E1B1. You fucking hoe. It ain't a debate. It's a stick up. Everybody on the fucking floor. Lucifer, nigga. Wrap that dumb shit.
Boo.
All right. Hey, we going into this first round. Everybody, man, like, share, and subscribe. Hey, share the show. Share the show on Facebook. Share the show in the back chat. Share the show to your mama. Share the show to your uncle. Share the show to your stepbrother and your real brothers. Hey, Reuben, you ready to get round one out the way?
Let's go.
Let's get this show on the motherfucking road, man. I'm gonna start my timer whenever you ready.
Right, I'm about to share my screen.
All right. Let's get this shit on the road, man. Like, share, and subscribe. Get your popcorn, man. Roll the dope up. Roll it up.
Waiting on Reuben.
Hey, y'all see my screen?
Yes, sir.
All right.
You there, Reuben? Reuben, you there? You gotta unmute your mic, Reuben. Reuben.
Yeah, I'm here. My screen sharing?
Yeah, you trying to play something?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can't hear it.
Oh no, wait.
Hey, this happened in every debate, huh? Every debate, my opponent have technical difficulties. Why are you playing a video in the debate?
Hold up, brother.
It's banter time. He have a technical difficulty. It's banter time. You got to keep the people entertained. I'm here to entertain the people.
We good, brother.
I'm going to aim where's weave at, nigga. Tell them to weave that.
All right, hold up, brother. It's round one. Relax. Get back in your corner, fighter. All right, Reuben, I think you gotta share with the sound. That's probably what you gotta do. Let me see. This your PowerPoint? Reuben, you there? You gotta unmute your mic.
Man, my opponent's got trash PCs, trash hardware. Y'all can't even do that right.
Hold up, brother. Let me go and mute your goddamn
Hey,
mic.
y'all see my screen?
Yeah, we don't hear nothing. You can't be going for long periods of time. We here with you.
Y'all can't hear nothing.
Nah, we can't hear nothing.
Yeah.
Probably got to unshed, and then share with your camera. I mean, not share with your camera. Unshed and then share with the sound on.
Let me see.
Get back in your goddamn corner, Lucifer. Stay in your corner, brother. That you got a video and a PowerPoint.
Yeah.
Alright,
let me see if it's working now. Y'all see my screen?
Yeah.
What about the audio?
Nuh-uh.
Y'all can't hear no audio?
Nuh-uh.
Damn. What's going on? Let me see something, bro. Let me see if y'all hear now. Y'all hear the audio now?
Nuh-uh. Hey, it's got something to do with when you sharing your screen. So when you sharing your screen, let me see. When you sharing your screen, it should ask you something about your audio.
Yeah, and I got that switch on. It got the little switch at the bottom where it say also share tab audio.
Yeah. Try it one more time.
Hold on, wait.
It's just a YouTube video. I could play that.
Yeah, hold on. Let me try one more time. If it don't work, I'm gonna shoot it to you. Yeah.
Hey.
You hear it?
Hold on. Nah, I don't hear nothing.
Well, I stopped. What about now?
Not these other brothers. I ain't with that black community shit.
All right.
African genetic continuity in Egypt from the Stone Age to the dynastic period. The case for the African EM215/M35 and its many descendants. The first question that should arise is, when did the Stone Age end? Even though I could talk about 300,000 years ago in Egypt, I don't have to. According to S. Harmon et al., 3.3 million year old stone tools, the Stone Age is a prehistoric period when weapons and tools were made of stone or of materials such as bone, wood, or horn. This period lasted millions of years and came to an end around 10,000 to 12,000 years ago. This debate is about genetic continuity from prior to this window through the pre-dynastic and dynastic periods of ancient Egypt. In order to be a Stone Age people in these areas, there should be Stone Age genetics and technology in the areas in question. Is there? Yes. There is, in the form of Y-DNA haplogroup M215/M35, mtDNA haplogroup L3, and their many descended subclades, among other archaeological evidences. Early Egyptian weapons. In the early dynastic period in Egypt, circa 3150 to 2613 BCE, military weaponry was comprised of maces, daggers, and spears. The spears had been developed by hunters during the pre-dynastic period and changed very little except like daggers. Tips changed from flint to copper. Even so, the majority of spear and arrowheads from the old kingdom of Egypt seem to have been largely flint. An Egyptian soldier would have carried a spear and a dagger and a shield, probably made of animal hide or woven papyrus. These weapons were supplemented during the Old Kingdom by archers who used a simple single arch bow with reed arrows and flints or copper tips. The fact that pre-dynastic Egyptians were using flint arrowheads is evidence of them being a Stone Age people, as flint is a type of stone. The evidence of the evolution of stone arrowheads and spear points in these areas dates back to the Nubian Lavello technology of early humans over 250,000 years ago. Its evolution in these areas until early dynastic periods is evident of cultural continuity. It's clear that pre-dynastic technology had Stone Age roots inside of Africa. Stone Age genetics. All it takes is a simple Google search, folks. Y-DNA haplogroup EM35, a branch of the broader EM215 lineage, is estimated to have originated in the Horn of Africa around 23,000 years ago, 23,000 BCE, during the Stone Age, with its most recent common ancestor likely born between 26,042 and 19,538 BCE. Phylogeography of haplogroup E. Phylogenetic information and the geographic distribution of haplogroup E clades, we performed a discrete phylogeographic analysis, U et al. 2010, to associate each node of the tree to one or more of 6 broad geographic regions with an emphasis on the African continent. This analysis suggests a sub-Saharan placement of the most common recent ancestor of the haplogroup E chromosomes here analyzed. Within this clade, the posterior probability strongly favors an East African placement for the origin of EM215 diversity, as previously suggested by Seminole et al. 2004 and by Gebremesco and Ibrahim 2014, whereas a Northern African location is favored for the node defining the M78 subclade, supporting the previous hypothesis. Despite we assign most previous deep EM35 Eastern African clades to haplogroup EV1515. Our phylogeographic analysis slightly favors an Eastern African origin for M35. We found a new clade defined by the V1515 mutation, which originated and differentiated in Eastern Africa and expanded southward in recent times as a single terminal clade, EM293. We propose that the migration marked by the EM293 haplogroup could be the final step in a north to south range expansion listed as linked to different branches of EV1515, which initially involved people from Eritrea and possibly northern Sudan, not sampled here. This migratory route is concordant in time and space with archaeological evidence for early domestication of African cattle in northeastern Africa about 10,000 known years ago. Southward climate-driven movements of herders into southern Ethiopia highlands and Turkana Basin, northern Kenya, about 4,000 years ago, and a subsequent sub-equatorial pastoralist expansion towards southern Kenya, Tanzania, and southern Africa not before 3,000 years ago. Some controversy persists in the archaeological community regarding whether cattle domestication was developed in North Africa or imported from the Middle East. However, recent DNA analysis of extant indigenous African bovine, taurine, and zebu cattle, Harnott et al. 2002, supports a model in which the earliest emergence of pastoralism involves taurine cattle took place in northeastern Africa and subsequently spread westward and southward. Harnott et al. 2002. A recent analysis of NRY variation in 13 eastern and southern African population samples suggest that the spread of pastoralism from eastern Africa to southern Africa was accompanied by a migration of pastoral peoples as well as pastoral technology, as evidenced by the distribution of NSR haplogroup 293 and the subclade E3B1F M293, Hen et al. 2008. Furthermore, the most likely source for this migration based on the samples included in et al. 2008 would have been the Southern Nilotic speaking Datog, because of the haplogroup frequency and diversity of M293 is highest in the Datog around 2,000 years ago, Hint et al. 2008. Earliest evidence for Egyptian cattle is from the Fayum region, dating back to the 8th millennium BC. In the past, the type was given its own species name, Bos A. aegypticus, but is now regarded as part of the same scientific taxon as other domestic cattle, either Bos taurus or Bos primigenius, subspecies taurus. It is uncertain as to where Egyptian cattle originated, as some claim that they were acquired from the Levant, Mesopotamia, while others claim that it was domesticated independently from a North African subspecies of the aurochs, Bos primigenius mauritanicus. There's evidence for both sides, as cattle has been domesticated in the Levant by the 8th millennium BC, but excavations of early Holocene Western Sahara shows that indigenous cattle existed previous to the 8th millennium. Spread of pastoralism. Archaeological data suggests that the emergence of animal husbandry in northeastern Africa took place as early as 11,000 years ago. Mendorf and Skilled, 1998. Archaeological studies in Naphtali in Egypt's western desert reveal a spectrum of artifacts consistent with pastoralism and adaptation to the desert environment, including particular pottery styles, cartoon tradition, evidence of well technology, and cattle burials. McDonald, 1998, Windorf, and Skilled, 1998. By around 8,000 years ago, evidence is presented of imported in the Middle East sheep or goat remains in northeastern Africa. From McDonald, 1998. Although geneticists have extensively debated the mode which agriculture diffused from the Near East to Europe, they have not directly examined similar agro-pastoral diffusions in Africa. It is unclear, for example, whether early instances of sheep, cows, pottery, and other traits of the pastoralist package were transmitted to southern Africa by endemic or cultural diffusion. Here we report a newly discovered Y chromosome specific polymorphism that defines haplogroup E3B1F-M293. This polymorphism reveals that the monophyletic relationship of the majority of the haplotypes of a previous paraphyletic clade E3B1-M35 is widespread in Africa and southern Europe. To elucidate the history of the E3B1F haplogroup, we analyzed this haplogroup in 13 populations from southern and eastern Africa. Yeah. So I'm gonna go to this here while I still got time. You know what I'm saying? This is your Asiatics, Jashub. You see what my cursor is? This determinative right there. That determinative is indicative of foreigners, which is what the Asiatics were in Egypt. The Egyptians themselves, Jashub, documented your Eurasians as foreigners. Now, why would they do this if they was Eurasian?
All right. It is going down in Ace time and all the way else around. Nah, for real. Hey, man, we're going into the bottom of the first. You know what I'm saying? Y'all like, share, and subscribe. You know what I'm saying? Whatever. Hey, get your pen and paper too, because we're learning tonight. You know what I'm saying? Lucifer, you there? Hold on, I got to unmute my boy Mike. You know what I'm saying? I had to tell him to get back in this corner. I had to mute Lucifer, you there?
Hey, man. What I say in my intro? He be capping with the fakers, talking this AI shit, and he forgot what happened.
We're going to start
your... this nigga AI'd us, man, and didn't even cite nothing. All right. Anyway, let's go over here. You know I got to put the banter in it, man. Got to entertain the folks watching at home, brother. Nigga came up here with AI. Nigga said EM30E1B1. Get your... All right, man. You trying to penalize me and shit for banner. All right. So we're gonna show a real presentation, not a YouTube video. What the fuck are we doing? Lazy scholarship. It's 2025. Show a real presentation. All right. So I'm gonna go to slideshow. Boom. Present a view. Boom. Let's get it. So this is the topic right here, brothers. This is the topic. Let me go back. Is there an African genetic continuity from the Stone Age to the dynastic period in Egypt? I'm arguing the negative. There was not a major African continuity. You bringing up flint arrows is not helping your argument. You're bringing up cultural continuity. Culture doesn't make babies. Men and women do in the act of sex, brother. You brought up AI, EM35, a bunch of garbage. 70,000 years ago, you brought that up for some reason with haplogroup E, the origin, where it came from, EV1515. And you said pastoralism was pretty much, locked in Egypt. Here's the timeline for the dynastic period. So we have enough DNA data here to give an idea of what the genetics, that's what we're arguing, not culture, not if they use flint arrows or nothing like that, of the dynastic Egyptians, and does it relate to old Stone Age Africans? The man brought up 3.3 million years ago. Y'all got to understand terminology, man. Again, here's another reference to show you guys, again, Egyptian history during the dynastic period when the Old Kingdom starts and the end of it during the third intermediate period. So we're talking about a 2,000-year period. He has to show genetic DNA from this period connected to Stone Age Africa. He has not done that yet. First round knockout. And here's the Stone Age information here. You can see where I got it from. Armstrong Institute of Biblical Archaeology. They laid it out perfectly. 2 million years to 3300 BCE. What is genetic drift? We got to give definitions before we start. Why? Because he thinks that people remain the same. All humans, newsflash, all humans come from Africa. That does not mean all humans are Africans. Why? Because genetic drift happens. This is where I want y'all to hone in on. Genetic drift can have a major effects when a population is sharply reduced in size by a natural disaster, bottleneck effect, or when small groups split off from the main population to find a colony. This is called a founder effect. And this is what we see with haplogroup clades. And this is what my opponent is not taking into consideration, or he just doesn't know. Ancient Egyptians are the surrogates of non-African DNA. We find that the only fitting model is one using Levant, Bronze Age, Iron Age as a source. So we can see that these people connect to the Levant. And we estimate that the Kalubnardi Nubians had 57.5% plus or minus 0.3% West Eurasian related ancestry. This will show that ancient Egyptians, because who did these Nubians get it from? They got it from the Egyptians. That's where they got it from. That the ancient Egyptians did not have this old Tyrian Stone Age like 300,000-year-old DNA that you keep imagining in your brain, or 50 or 70,000-year-old DNA. They have West Eurasian DNA. All right. It says ultimately most likely found in the Bronze or Iron Age people from the Levant. Although this ancestry was likely introduced to Nubia through ancient Egyptians or a group related to them. This reflects deep biological connections among populations inhabiting the Nile Valley and further confirms the presence of West Eurasian related ancestry in the Nile Valley prior to the later Arab migrations. The source is right there. You were not ready for this, bro. You wasn't ready for this. This is, make me go get my motherfucking belt, nigga. We putting belts to ass all 2025. No pseudo alive. Social stratification without genetic differentiation at the site of the Kalubnardi and Christian period Nubia. Sirach et al. 2021. This is how you do it, bro. Not a pre-recorded video. Ancient Egyptians, West Eurasian DNA exemplifies African discontinuity. That's the debate. Leveraging previously published genome-wide data from the 3 ancient Egyptians, we show that West Eurasian-related ancestry detected at Kalubnardi was plausibly introduced via people from Egypt who harbored a majority of Western Eurasian-related ancestry, who harbored a majority of West Eurasian-related ancestry, who harbored a majority of Western Eurasian-related ancestry in a minor proportion of the Nilotic-related ancestry. The introduction of West Eurasian-related ancestry through Egypt is consistent with archaeological evidence of connections between Egypt and the Levant established by the first half of the 4th millennium BCE. in between Egypt and Nubia, going on to the 3rd millennium BC. And it's the same source as my previous slide. I already said I put 2 in your shit. It's over with, nigga. It's over. I already put 2 in your shit. Now let's address your E1B1 argument. E1B1. EM78 descendants, non-African ancestry. You can't get around this. You need to update your science. You were showing 2008, 2008, 2000. It's 2025, man. Y chromosome data are also suggestive of at least 2 episodes of non-African migration into the Horn of Africa prior to 3,000 years ago. First, Horn of African populations carry EM78, Y chromosomes at high frequency. EM78 originated in northeastern Africa. This is where he hones in on. He said, oh, it's in Africa, so it's African. Let's keep reading. Let's keep reading this fundamental. Around 19,000 years ago, with a descendant lineage, EB32, unique to the Horn of Africa that arrived by at least 6,000 years ago. Because, here it is, Reuben, because Northern African populations in this time frame, what time frame? The time frame that we just gave you, 19,000 years ago. In this time frame are inferred to have substantial non-African ancestry. So invoking E1B1B doesn't help your argument. They are some of the most non-African people anciently and presently. You're done. The expansion south of EM78 could have introduced non-African ancestry into the Horn of Africa prior to 6,000 years ago, which goes with the Illuminati paper I just read to you. It goes right along with that paper showing you that ancient Egyptians are the reason countries south of Egypt have non-African DNA, because the Egyptians themselves were non-African in times past. No continuity. That's a discontinuity. You're done. The current distribution of E1B1 in North Africa could also be caused by the back migration from the Near East to Africa that have already been proposed by several authors. The high frequencies of haplogroup R, we got R in Egypt, we got R in Africa, period. Where do you think that came from? Where do you think these E1B1B1 clades came from? Everybody are not the same. They leave Africa, differentiate, genetic drift, a founder effect, and create new clades that are completely different than the ones that lived 70,000 years ago. You put up a smoke screen, now you getting smacked up. Act up, get smacked up like your mama in this bitch. The high frequencies of haplogroup R1M173 in Cameroon all supported the back migration from Eurasia to Africa. And there's my source. Ancient Egyptian mummy genomes suggest an increase of sub-Saharan African ancestry in post-Roman periods. Schumann et al. 2017. Affinity with the Near East and the Levant kills the argument. The ancient DNA data revealed a high level of affinity between the ancient inhabitants of Abu Sar el-Malek and modern populations from the Near East and the Levant. This finding is pertinent in the light of the hypothesis advanced by Pagani and colleagues, who estimated the average proportion of non-African ancestry in Egyptians was 80% and dated to the midpoint of this admixture event to around 750 years ago. Our data seem to indicate close admixture and affinity at a much earlier date, which is unsurprising. It's unsurprising to see this in ancient Egyptians during the dynastic period. This is why King Tut got haplogroup R. This is why Yuya or Yaya has haplogroup G. All Caucasian, trans-Caucasian haplogroups in ancient Egypt. You got to explain that. And even E1B1 is showing non-African ancestry. Our data seem to indicate close admixture and affinity at a much earlier date, which is unsurprising given the long, complex connections between Egypt and the Middle East. These connections date back to prehistory and occur at a variety of scales, including overland, maritime commerce, diplomacy, immigration, invasion, and deportation. Especially from the second millennium BC on, there were intense historical and archaeological documented contacts, including the large-scale immigration of Canaanite populations known as the Hyksos into Lower Egypt, whose origin lie in the Middle Bronze Age Levant. You're done. This is all during the dynastic period. We don't see a Stone Age, a Tyrian-like African ancestral DNA. We don't see that. We see Eurasian DNA. Same source. Let's keep it going. All right, I'm gonna be real quick. So a future paper coming out says the same thing. It says right here, in addition, we also found Western Eurasian mtDNA haplogroups. Those are the women. That's the DNA coming and transferred, the sex chromosome transferred by the women, and individuals dated to a period prior to the New Kingdom. Prior to the New Kingdom. So it's all in this high frame. We're seeing these people showing a discontinuity, not a continuity. It said this provides further evidence for shared maternal ancestries between Western Eurasian or North African populations and ancient reaper sweep and collect the soul. And when
he set himself up for the killing and don't even know
it. Hey, we eating. Hey, we eating right now. This is the chat. All the superstars is in the chat. All the superstars in the chat. Did I mention that both of these brothers is undefeated? Oh yeah, it's going down. Goddamn it, it's going down. All right, round 2. Oh, let me hey man, if you want to get fly, you know what I'm saying, scan that goddamn barcode. You know what I'm saying? If you want to get fly, scan that goddamn barcode. You know what I'm saying? Now we getting into round 2. Lucifer, King, just share your screen. Whenever you're ready, Reuben, just share your screen. Get your popcorn, roll your blunts up. Goddamn, get that Kool-Aid. I need some good ass Kool-Aid, you know what I'm saying, with all that sugar in it. You know what I'm saying? We need some good ass Kool-Aid. You know what I'm saying? It is about to go down, man. It's a heavyweight battle.
Some of that black Kool-Aid, huh?
Mike, Ali.
Let's go.
The geographic distribution of the E3B1F haplogroup is associated with the microsatellite diversity estimates for populations. It's consistent with an expansion through Tanzania to southern Central Africa. The data suggests that dispersal was independent of the migration of Bantu-speaking peoples along a similar route. 11,000 years before present marks the end of the Paleolithic, Old Stone Age, and the beginning of the Mesolithic, Middle Stone Age, and the start of the Holocene epoch, a period of transition to the Neolithic, New Stone Age, and the earliest evidence of cattle herding or pastoralism in Northeast Africa is at least 3,000 years prior to West Eurasian sheep and goats being imported into Africa. Early African pastoralism viewed from Dakhla Oasis, South Central Egypt, M.A. McDonald. The late prehistoric archaeological sequence of Dakhla Oasis, South Central Egypt, is examined for evidence on the origins and development of pastoralism in northeastern Africa under the drive of fluctuating environmental conditions of the early to mid-Holocene. 8,100 BP, relatively sedentary groups, the Masara cultural unit have a broad-based substance but sign of food production. Herding appears circa 7,000 BP at a time of increased and possibly less seasonal rainfall on large late Bashindi A sites with stone-built structures and still diversified food economy. With the drying trend after 6,500 BP, mobile Bashindi B cattle and goat herders continue to aggregate in the oasis for a millennium, still utilizing a variety of resources. More settled Sheikh Mufta groups occupy the oasis lowlands until Old Kingdom times. Throughout the sequence, the early pastoralism from Dakhla seems more African than West Asian in character. Again, seems more African than West Asian in character. Not only does EM35 and its subclades have genetic continuity since the Stone Age, they have cultural continuity too. Pastoralism gave rise to the cattle culture of dynastic Egypt. Y chromosome haplogroup EM78, a descendant of EM35, a prominent paternal lineage in North and East Africa, likely originated in Northeast Africa during the Paleolithic era. Evidence suggesting migrations between Northeast and Eastern Africa, as well as trans-Mediterranean migrations to Europe and Florida West and Eurasia. Detailed population data were obtained on the distribution of novel biallelic, finally dissect the human Y chromosome haplogroup EM78. 6,501 Y chromosomes sampled in 81 human populations worldwide. We found 517 EM78 chromosomes and assigned them to 10 subhaplogroups. 7 microsatellite loci were used to further evaluate subhaplogroup internal diversification. Graphic and quantitative analysis of haplogroup and microsatellite diversity is strongly suggestive of a northeastern African origin of EM78, with a corridor for bidirectional migrations between northeastern and eastern Africa, at least two episodes between 23,000 point, at least two episodes between 23,000.9 and 17,000.3 known years ago, and between 18,000 and 5,000.9 known years ago. Trans-Mediterranean migrations directly from northern Africa to Europe, mainly in the last 13,000 known years, and flow to northeastern Africa to western Asia about 20,000 years and 6.8 thousand years ago. A single clade within EM78 EV13 highlights a range expansion in the Bronze Age from southeastern Europe, which is also detected by haplogroup JAM12. Followed geographically pattern of molecular radiation and coalescence estimates for both haplogroups are similar and reveal that the genetic landscape of this region is, to a large extent, the consequence of a recent population growth in situ rather than the result of a mere flow of Western Asian migrants in the early Neolithic. Our results not only provide a refinement of previous evolutionary hypotheses, but also well-defined time frames for past human movements, both in northern, eastern Africa and western Eurasia. So we see EM78 emerges during the late Stone Age in northeast Africa in the area around Egypt and Libya, and shows not one but two Stone Age migrations from northeast Africa into eastern Africa, both likely occurring prior to the end of the last glacial maximum. The study also determined that the genetic landscape of this region is, to a large extent, the consequence of a recent population growth in situ rather than the result of a mere gene flow from Western Asian migrants in the early Neolithic. In situ is a Latin phrase meaning in place or on site, referring to something remaining in its original location or context. The Stone Age presence of African e-markers is not only established in Egypt, but also in Western Asia. While haplogroup EM35 and its subclade EM78 are indeed both found and originated in Africa, they are primarily associated with North and East Africa, the Middle East, and Europe, not sub-Saharan Africa, but they're both African nonetheless. Let's get to this 2017 Eberser El Malik study by Schuneman et al. You like to use. Here's what you're not telling the people about it. The affinity to the Middle East finds further support by the Y chromosome haplogroup of three individuals for which genome-wide data was obtained, two of which could be assigned to the Middle Eastern haplogroup J and one to haplogroup E1B1B1 common in North Africa. E1B1B1 is EM35. That's a 34,800-year-old Stone Age African haplogroup in your Middle Kingdom Roman period Fayum study, Jashub. Its direct descendant, EM78, emerged just west of the Fayum site over 20,000 years ago. Finally, we use two methods to estimate the fraction of sub-Saharan African ancestry in ancient and modern Egyptians. Both reveal modern Egyptians inherit 8% more ancestry from African ancestors than the three ancient Egyptians do, which is also consistent with the admixture results discussed above. Absolute estimates of African ancestry using these two methods in the three ancient individuals range from 6 to 15%, and in the modern samples from 14 to 21%, depending on method and choice of reference population. The study not saying that they had no sub-Saharan African ancestry, Jashub, you are. Finally, we analyzed several functionally relevant SNPs in sample JK2911, which had low contamination and relatively high coverage. This individual had a derived allele at the SLC24A5 locus, which contributes to light skin pigmentation and was shown to be at high frequency in Neolithic Anatolia, consistent with the ancestral affinity shown above. Other relevant SNPs carry the ancestral allele, including HERC2 and LCT, which suggests dark-colored eyes and lactose intolerance. Our analysis furthermore shows that the derived alleles for genes SLC24A5, known to be responsible for partially lighter skin pigmentation, were present in both JK2888 and JK2911. For further genes such as SLC45A2, LCT, and EDAR, we were unable to find derived alleles for both JK2888 and JK2911. For JK2134, there was no sufficient coverage after quality filtering at all the specific sites, which is why the analysis revealed no further clues. E1B1B1 refers to the human Y chromosome DNA haplogroup, also known as EM35, with an East African origin and associated with the spread of pastoralism from East Africa to Southern Africa, Jashub. It makes sense it was found in your study, seeing how its direct descendant, EM78, emerged just west of the Fayoum Ebasir El Malik site closer to the Libyan border in northern Egypt, long before the Neolithic expansion in these SLC24A5 mutation carrying Neolithic migrants, and is more evidence of African genetic continuity in Egypt from the Stone Age to the Middle Kingdom and Roman period your favorite study is based on.
All right, Tom. All right. Let's get it. Let's get it. Let's go into the bottom of this goddamn second round. Going to the bottom of this goddamn second round, Lucifer. You just let me know when you're ready.
Shit, I'm ready, man. I'm ready. He keep bringing up E1, B1B, all these old ass studies. This is family tree DNA right now. EM35 differentiates outside of Africa. You all can see it. It's on the screen. In the study he just went to was Schumann et al. Didn't I just read y'all? Maybe this is why you should not play a video recording. You should actually just get up here and debate. This is weak. EM35, the ancestor of EM78, differentiates outside of Africa. Then EM78 comes back. They're Eurasian, like majority of North Africa, as you can see on the screen. So now I'm just going to rewind this so we can find. This is an easy debate. Yeah, I showed you ancient Egyptians are the surrogates of non-African DNA. EM78 are surrogates of non-African DNA because they're primarily non-African. They're non-African. When we're talking genetics, you need to speak genetics. You don't speak that language. That's the problem. So again, he brought up Schumann et al. 2017, and I'm just going to rebuttal this real quick, then get back into my round. Right here it is, Schumann et al. 2017. This is from the supplemental. It says the current distribution of E1B11 in North Africa could also be caused by the back migration from the Near East to Africa. This up-to-date science right here. Up-to-date science. All right. So EM35, as you can see here, here's a graph from the latest paper on Libya, but it brings up all of the available ancient data. And the ancient data that we have available in Egypt, you see those little blue dots, Reuben? They match with Eurasians. You see all those blue dots in Eurasia? Ancient Egyptians match with Eurasians, not early African foragers. If they did, they will be green. They're not green. These dots is very simple to follow. This represent ancient Levant and Eurasian DNA within the ancient Egyptians. They have an affinity with ancient Egyptians. Moraz 2023, the Old Kingdom. The Egyptian has mitochondrial DNA I. The sources to the right. Nurat 001, Nurat representing Egypt, carried mitochondrial DNA haplogroup 1. This sample goes all the way back to 2600 BCE. During the dynastic period. Haplogroup I has nothing to do with no damn Stone Age Africans. Stop it. It wasn't there 40, 50,000 years ago. It didn't even exist. So this is showing a discontinuity. Nurat 001 carried mitochondrial DNA haplogroup I, which originated 21,000 years ago in West Asia. In present-day population, this haplogroup was widely distributed, but at low frequencies. Haplogroup I was present, but in low frequencies, approximately 5% in ancient individuals from a study on pre-Ptolemaic Egyptians, Ptolemaic Egyptians, and Roman Egyptians, showing a continuity with a Eurasian people. This is discontinuity. You don't see no damn old Stone Age Arterian-like autosomes or genome. I'm using the whole genome to argue. The mitochondrial DNA, Y DNA, and autosomes. You don't see it. And of course, he was E1, B1B downstream, close to Z1919. I actually do this genetic shit, nigga. You don't speak this language, which starts in the Levant. You done. You finished. Ancient nuclear DNA from ancient North Africans points towards discontinuity. Eurasian admixture has had a large influence on the genomes of Northeast Africa. Why didn't it say Stone Age African forager DNA? It don't say that. This is all the updated information. This is from 2023. You bring in 2008 wiki sources. This is the second debate. Y'all bring wiki. Learn how to fucking study. Eurasian admixture has had a large influence on the genomes of Northeast African groups. The Egyptians and Sudanese Cop populations, for instance, are genetically very similar to Middle Eastern groups rather than to other African populations. The pattern is true also for the rest of North Africa and present as early as least 15,000 years ago. Let's go, man. You done, nigga. Eurasian back migration into Northeast Africa was a complex and multifaceted process. Hammerin et al. 2023. The North African component comes from non-Africans. Model B shows North African populations. This includes Egyptians, Reuben, splitting from the Middle East in a back to Africa movement. This is the model mostly supported, Reuben, mostly supported. This is the model mostly supported, that what we call autochthonous North African genomes. North African people split from Middle Easterners. They share DNA ancestral origin, recent ancestral origin with Middle Easterners. This is the model mostly supported in previous analysis by population structure and admixture F statistic approaches, modeling the demographic history of human North African genomes is where you can find that. And that's a 2024 source. No 2008 sources over here. This is from the Back to Africa wiki. So I'm gonna use this wiki here too, but for simplification reasons. I want my judges to look at the top. Egypt, Narat, Egyptian. He's 90% non-African. 90% non-African. The other 10% is Caucasian, Iranian-like. 90% Levantine, not Tufian. Not no damn Stone Age African. This shows discontinuity, like the rest of North Africa. Look at Morocco, 87%. Another KTG, another Moroccan population, 86%. Algeria, Egypt, Abasar El Malek, Egyptian, 85 to 94%, which that paper tells you E1, B1 came from the Near East. You did not factor in genetic drift. You did not factor in founder and divergence events. These people diverge in Eurasia and create their own unique and distinct haplogroups and clades, and their autosomal DNA is non-African. We can also see this with U6 carriers in Egypt and all over North Africa coming from outside of Africa. They're carrying with them their autosomes, their mitochondrial DNA, and even Y DNA. Men and women are coming into Africa in droves. That's why majority of the ancient Egyptian genome is non-African. The presence of the basal haplogroup U6 in Southeast Europe, Romania at 35,000 years before present confirms the Eurasian origin of the U6 mitochondrial lineage. Consequently, we propose that the PM1 lineage is an offshoot of the Southeast European that can be traced to the early Upper Paleolithic back migration from Western Asia to North Africa. I just showed you that. Here's the paper on the bottom. Mitogenome of 35,000-year-old Homo sapiens from Europe supports a Paleolithic back migration to Africa by Harvella et al. 2016. Same source. The haplotype of PM1 individual belongs to the basal U6 haplogroup from which the rest of the haplotypes were derived. This scenario confirms that U6 mitochondrial lineage has a Eurasian origin, supporting the hypothesis of an early back migration from Eurasia. So all we've been hearing about back migrations with the ancient Egyptians, with North Africans in general. These people are Eurasian genetically, not Stone or old Arterian African. So I'm using, for recapitulation purposes, I showed you nuclear DNA pointing to non-African DNA, paternal DNA pointing to non-African DNA, paternal DNA pointing to non-African DNA. All aspects of DNA show and prove that ancient Egyptians were largely non-African, showcasing a genetic discontinuity. After the African human period, The climatic conditions became rapidly hyper-arid, and Green Sahara was replaced by the desert, which acted as a strong geographic barrier against human movements between northern and sub-Saharan Africa. I'm just going to skip some of this for time's sake. It says the predominant wild lineages are J and EMA1, with the latter reaching a frequency as high as 80% in some populations. The massive presence of these lineages in northern Africa has been explained as a consequence of a Neolithic migration from Middle East. A Neolithic migration from the Middle East. Your ancient Egyptians are a consequence of this. People going from the Middle East. That's why their genomes are completely differentiated. As we can read here, it talks about E1B1. He's talking about E1B1 in Egypt, E1B1 in Northeast Africa. All of this points towards these people being Eurasian, and the source is trans-Saharan connections. It says the analysis of EM78 haplogroup revealed an interesting link between Northern Africa, the Near East, and Southern Europe. You notice it didn't say anything about no Assyrians, none of that stuff. None of that. Because these people are closely related to Eurasians, which they split off from, as we brought up. That's the model that's supported. It says, in conclusion, this vocal data indicate that the Mediterranean regions have been ceaselessly and extensively in contact over the last 1,000 years. More specifically, after the end of the African human period, Northern Africa was influenced by the Middle Eastern Southern European events and vice versa. A consequence of this is that the Northern African populations become more and more genetically differentiated from the sub-Saharan ethnic groups. You're done. Genetic discontinuity. As we can see here, North African populations, this includes Egypt, it says, have found that despite the complex admixture genetic background, there's an autochthonous genomic component, which is likely derived from a back to Africa gene flow older than 12,000 years ago. This local population substratum seems to represent a genetic discontinuity. You're done. You're done. And the source is on the bottom, man. And we got mitochondrial haplogroup N showing the ancient Egyptians had more in common with the people of the Middle East. Source, Paleogenetics, study of ancient mummies of Kurchatov Institute. Y chromosomal haplogroups show the same thing. You have
Time.
Lucifer, nigga.
Hey, man.
Whole bunch of nothing.
Hey, right now, let me go and share my screen, do my little commercial. Right now, we at halftime. You know what I'm saying? We at halftime of the show. This right here is Pine Club Apparel. Oh, let me drop that goddamn link. You know how we do it. This right here is Pine Club Apparel. If you want to get fly, if you see something that you might like, you know what I'm saying? Scan your damn phone with the code. We got the fly shit for you, man. You niggas be wearing overalls and onesies and shit. You niggas tired of wearing them baggy ass Wranglers. You know what I'm saying? Tap in with Super Wavy, man. I'm gonna get you fly, man. Day night with your thing. Super Wavy gonna get you right, man. Tap in. All right, we're going into the third round. Then we got that question and answering, that infamous question and answering. Let's get into this third round. King, I'm ready when you ready.
All right, stop sharing your screen, Jashub.
Oh, my bad. That's my bad. All right, can you share your screen?
Yeah, I'm about to share it now.
All right.
And then there's the more recent 2020 study of mummies at the Kurchatov Institute. In 2020, 3 mummies dating from the first millennium BCE from the Pushkin Museum of Arts collected were tested at the Kurchatov Institute of Moscow for their mitochondria and Y chromosomal haplogroups. One of the mummies was found to belong to Y chromosomal haplogroup R1b1a1b or R1b-M269, which originated in Eastern Europe, and another 2Y chromosome haplogroup E1b1b1a1b2a4b5a, which originated in North Africa. They also belong to mitochondrial haplogroups L3H1 and N5, common in Africans and Middle Easterners respectively. The third mummy was found to belong to mitochondrial haplogroup N, which is widely distributed across Eurasia as well as Eastern and North Eastern Africa. E1, B1, B1, A1, B2, A4, B5A is also known as EM180, and the downstream snap EM180 may have originated in the humid south central Sahara savanna grasslands of North Africa between 14,000 years before present and 10,000 years before present. Quit playing, Jashub. The expansion of mitochondrial haplogroup L3 within and outside of Africa. Genetic evidence from the extant populations have suggested that non-Africans descend primarily from a single successful later migration. Within the human mitochondrial DNA tree, haplogroup L3 encompasses not only many sub-Saharan Africans but also all ancient non-African lineages, and its age therefore provides an upper bound for the dispersal out of Africa. An analysis of 369 complete African L3 sequences places this maximum at 70,000 years ago, virtually ruling out a successful exit before 74,000 years ago, the date of the Toba volcanic super eruption in Sumatra. The similarity of the age of L3 to its two non-African daughter haplogroups M and N suggests that the same process was likely responsible for both the L3 expansion in eastern Africa and the dispersal of a small group of modern humans out of Africa to settle the rest of the world. The timing of the expansion of L3 suggests a link to improved climatic conditions after 70,000 years ago in eastern and central Africa rather than to symbolically mediate behavior, which evidently arose considerably earlier. The L3 mtDNA pool within Africa suggests a migration from Eastern Africa to Central Africa 60 to 35,000 years ago, and major migrations in the immediate post-glacial again linked to climate. L3H is a specific branch within L3. It's estimated to have originated around 58,000 years before present, with L3H emerging around 56,000 BCE. While L3H is associated with the migrations out of Africa, it's also found in various populations within Africa, suggesting the complex interplay of migrations and genetic diversity. That's a 58,000-year-old East African mitochondrial haplogroup found in the first millennium BC mummy, Jashub. That's 55,000 years worth of genetic continuity, and the best you got is its sister clade within L3, M1A1, and all of your Eurasian Y haplogroups are associated with the Neolithic ball. The 2018 study titled Carriers of Mitochondrial DNA Macro Haplogroup L3 basal lineage migrates back to Africa from Asia around 70,000 years ago had this to say about haplogroup E. There is general consensus in attributing an Eastern African origin to the initial expansion of the NRY haplogroup E in the continent. Curiously, ancestral E lineages have been detected in the Arabian Peninsula and the Levant. Regardless of its origin, haplogroup E shows lower frequencies in northeastern Africa and the eastern Sahel than in the west. The opposite pattern is observed in the frequencies of Y Eurasian haplogroups in the same areas, which suggests later, stronger Eurasian male gene flow throughout the northeast side. The study titled Eurasian Back Migrations into Northeast Africa was a complex and multifaceted process, gives us clues as to when. In the last decade, several genetic studies on modern-day populations have focused on the genetic demographic history of Ethiopia and found patterns of linguistic stratification within Ethiopian populations, i.e. populations within the same language family are more similar to each other than to populations belonging to other language families. Pagani et al. 2012 and Lopez et al. 2021. Hellenthal et al. 2021. It is less clear if this pattern holds true to Northeast Africa as a whole, as Hohlfelder et al. 2017 found a stronger association between geography and genetics than between genetics and linguistic family. By studying modern day genetic variation, Molinaro et al. 2019 investigated the non-African part of Ethiopian populations and were able to conclude that there has been a Eurasian integration, likely coming from Levantine rather than Arabian populations. This event was estimated to have occurred around 3,000 years ago. That's long after obsidian spear tips, the spread of pastoralism, and EM78 emerging from EM35 in northern Egypt. Raising gene flow does coincide with actual historical events. Over the last 3,000 years, Egypt has been invaded by various groups, including the Hyksos, Cushites, Assyrians, Persians, Greeks, Romans, and Arabs. The Hyksos invaded around 1720 BCE, followed by the Cushites in the 8th century BCE, Assyrians in the 7th century BCE, Persians in the 6th century BCE, and the Greeks in 332 BCE. The Romans conquered Egypt in 31 BCE, and the Arabs conquered it in the 7th century CE. Egypt is and always was in Africa, and the genetic, archaeological, and cultural evidences show that it was inhabited by indigenous Africans who are still there today. Defining African solely as sub-Saharan is logically fallacious and commits the fallacies of biological essentialism and geographic determinism, just to name a few, Jashub. All right, since I got a couple of little time left, check this out. Because he be pushing the Schuneman at L 2014 study as if it's not contested. You know what I'm saying? In 2021, Gardine et al. Disputed Schuneman et al.'s claim in an unpublished article that the increase in the sub-Saharan component in the modern Egyptian samples resulted from the trans-Saharan slave trade. Instead, they argued that the sub-Saharan genetic affinities may be attributed to early settlers, Jashub, and the relevant sub-Saharan genetic markers do not correspond with the geography of known trade routes, Jashub. In 2022, biological anthropologist Soakita argued that there were problems with the study's approaches and conclusions such as overgeneralizations and a failure to consider alternative explanations. Particularly, he raised issues with the comparative samples from West Africa as a proxy group and generalizations about geographical Egypt and population origins from the same sample results. He also drew attention to the fact that the authors drew inference on migrations in line with their Bayesian statistical approach rather than integrate other data into their explanations about the population history. In 2023, Stabling and Health acknowledged that the 2017 study had performed the largest study on ancient Egyptian, but noted that the findings still derive from a small sample of mummies from one site in Middle Egypt dating to the New Kingdom and later periods, Jashub. They also stated that this study could not represent earlier populations or Egyptians from Upper Egypt who were geographically closer to sub-Saharan populations. In 2023, Christopher Eric argued that the conclusions of the 2017 study were based on insufficient small sample sizes and that the authors had a biased interpretation of the genetic data.
All right. You know what I'm saying? We're going into the bottom of that 30, bottom of the third round. This is the last round. Then we getting into that question and answer. You know what I'm saying? Everybody like, share, and subscribe to the show. Appreciate everybody tuning in. Appreciate everybody tapping in. Hey, man, over here we learn every day. All right, Lucifer, you ready?
Satanic ritual time. This brother went to a paper that argues that L3 is Eurasian in origin. That argues that E1B1B is Eurasian in origin. That haplogroup E was Eurasian in origin. He just went to that paper. You committed seppuku, which is Japanese ritual suicide. What did this say right here? Later work suggested, and this is the paper, carriers of mitochondrial DNA haplogroup L3 basal lineages migrated back to Africa from Asia around 70,000 years ago. Did you even read the title? L3, according to this paper, has a Asian origin. Anyway, later work suggested that low microsatellite diversity of this clade in Northwest Africa is better explained as a result of Neolithic or post-Neolithic gene flow episodes from the Near East. What clade is it talking about? EM81 and EM78. You did not read this paper. It's impossible for you to read this paper and come to that conclusion. All you got to do is look at the pictures. L3 is 70,000 years old in Asia. Everybody can see that. He just committed scholastic suicide. He mentioned another paper that says the same goddamn thing, that Eurasian DNA has been in North Africa for 15,000 years. You kicked yourself in the balls, which should be impossible. Next time read, look, L3. Where is it at? He brought up L3 like it was going to be a haymaker. You knocked your own goddamn self out. They have it in Asia. Satanic ritual time, nigga. Now back to the presentation. I don't got that much time. He wanted 10 minutes. Obviously, this required more time. But anyway, we brought up the second round was just talking about the back to Africa migration that we see in ancient Egyptians and North Africa as a whole. Again, the most supported model is that North Africans split from Middle Easterns. You can't get around that. He even cited a paper, again, that supports that L3 and haplogroup E arose outside of Africa. He just read the shit. He even read the part where it said there's a strong Eurasian gene flow into Africa. How the hell do y'all keep doing this? But I'm your friend, so I'm going to drive that knife into your chest and twist that bitch. The earliest herders with their livestock entered Africa, probably along the Sinai and the Red Sea routes, after which they rapidly spread into northeastern Africa and reached the Central Sahara around 8,300 years ago. By 6,400 years ago, further gene flow occurred with the appearance of ancestry associated with Neolithic groups from the Levant. And you said this in your third round. You literally admitted to the negative. You the affirmative. You're supposed to be proving continuity, not proving discontinuity. So there's Levantine people dumping into Africa, dumping into Egypt from the Levant. And even you said the shit. That's the discontinuity. Ancient DNA from the Green Sahara reveals ancestral North African lineage. And this is the Eastern Sahara, which is where Egypt resides. And all 2025, as you can see that brand new paper off the press. Eurasian DNA in Southern Egypt. Oh, go to Southern Egypt. The origins in Southern Egypt. It's Eurasian down there too. The modern distribution of H4A1 is rare and sporadic and has been identified in areas including the Canary Islands, Southern Iberia, and Lebanon. H4A1 has been reported in ancient samples from the Bell Beaker, the Unities context in Germany. What is this doing in Egypt? What is this doing in dynastic Egypt? He bringing up Greeks and Romans and stuff. I'm going to just skip this. Since a predominantly European haplogroup has been identified in an Egyptian individual in southern Egypt, prior to the Roman and Greek influx, 332 BCE. This is older than that. And we find it in southern Egypt. Drossall et al. 2020. Egypt is a gateway to the Middle East. The overall perspective from the examination of 97 samples from ancient Egypt with a mitochondrial haplogroup is a complicated society with rich mixture of established genetic backgrounds indicative of a population shaped over time by migration into the region. Shaped over time by migration into the region. Shaped over time by migration into the region. This is perhaps not surprising since Egypt is situated at the only land gateway between Africa and the Middle East, a region known to have been populated through the centuries by nomadic tribes and rich trading routes. As the record currently stands, these are represented by haplogroup U and M1A1 haplogroups throughout the first and second millennium BCE, expanded by J2A, R0, T1, T2, HV, and haplogroup I in the first millennium BCE. You're cooked. That's discontinuity. They're inundated with Eurasian autosomes, Y-DNA haplogroups, and mitochondrial DNA haplogroups. As we read earlier, E1, B1, B clades that you keep bringing up, they come from outside Africa. It says right here, the first reported case of the rare mitochondrial haplotype H4A1 is my paper. Haplogroup H, according to family tree DNA, arises outside of Africa. As you can see, the blue, the HV in the blue is all distributed in what we call Europe. The Jehudi Nak sample that's found in ancient Egypt. See, he's not showing you no ancient Egyptian samples and explaining it to you. This Jehudi Nak sequence had a U5B2 mitochondrial DNA. Where we find that at? In remains, in ancient human remains from Europe. And haplogroup U5B2C1 haplotype was recently discovered in 2000-year-old remains from Phoenicia. When the only mtDNA sequence recovered from ancient Egyptian human remains are considered, the Jehudi Nak sequence most closely resembles a U5A lineage from sample JK2903, a 2,000-year-old skeleton. So 4,000 years ago, this is during the dynastic period. This is showing a discontinuity. Y'all can see the paper here, biological section of a 4,000-year-old Egyptian by Laurel et al. 2018. Upper Egyptian DNA during the Middle Kingdom points to Eurasia. This is in Upper Egypt. Y'all love running to Upper Egypt. Even they are Eurasian. I read in my first round that Egyptians are surrogates for carrying non-African DNA south. So again, in the fact of 114 mitochondrial genomes now available from Northern Africa, ancient human remains, only one belongs to the African lineage. Majority, why? Because most of this is showing discontinuity. Discontinuity. It says in the present study, Near Eastern influence has been found in an individual of high social status who lived in Upper Egypt. Near Eastern influence. You cook, man. More evidence of genetic discontinuity. When the mummy's mtDNA sequence is viewed in the context of modern mitochondrial DNA diversity, however, the observed U5 lineage could potentially reflect interactions between Egypt and the Near East that date as far back as the pre-dynastic and early dynastic periods. That's more discontinuity, same source. Another ancient sample of mitochondrial DNA U5 in ancient North Africa. This is from a recent paper in 2025 by Mark Lipson. We see U5B2B1. We see these European women in North Africa. And they come from pre-Neolithic Europe. You cooked. There it is. Mitochondrial DNA U starts in Europe. Obviously, if you wasn't paying attention, my second round, I'm talking about back migrations. These are back migrations. These people are heavily Eurasian. That's why when you look at all of the ancient genomes, majority of it's non-African. Family tree DNA has haplogroup H for Nak-Unk of the 12th dynasty. This is before the Hyksos. He bring up the Hyksos. The Hyksos 1725 BCE. We going all the way 4,000 years ago. This is before them. They were always Eurasian. Before that period. What haplogroup does he have? H-Z19008, another non-African clade. This is the origin for HZ19008.
2 minutes.
Family tree DNA. Outside of Africa. Haplogroup M, the same thing. We find that in the Nak-Unk brothers. All right, so the Neurot paper. As we read earlier, it talks about the Old Kingdom, 2675 BCE. The DNA that we find in this individual is present in Natufians from the Levant, an epipaleolithic group associated with the first agricultural practices. This is the oldest DNA on record now available. And it has DNA components from Anatolia epipaleolithic, Caucasus Paleolithic, and Iran Mesolithic. These results confirm that contact with the Levant existed in Egypt at least 4,000 years ago, which is discontinuity, by the way. The exact contact date needs to be confirmed by older DNA from Egypt. Several cultural and biological contacts with the Levant were recorded through time by archaeologists. First, the migration could be recent, dating from the beginning of the Neolithic, 5,500 BCE. That's 7,000 years ago. Levantines are dumping into what we now know as Egypt. That's why they're surrogates. That's why they're pinpointing ancient Egyptians as being the surrogates to bring the Eurasian DNA south. It says when the Nile Valley was repopulated by people bringing agriculture. What people? The people from the Levant, as we just read. This is showing non-African DNA. This is talking about the 15,000-year-old Topharots, which the majority of their DNA was non-African, as well as I showed in my first round. Neurot 001 is located in present-day individuals living in the Arabian Peninsula in Northeast Africa. So Old Kingdom Egyptians are related to people living in the Arabian Peninsula and Northeast Africa. Discontinuity. Where's the Assyrian DNA? Where's the DNA from the Assyrian DNA? We don't see that. We see Eurasian DNA. Eurasian DNA. It says here. Lucifer, nigga.
He just proved genetic continuity in Africa, the Arabian Peninsula, and the Levant.
Hold up. We about to get this money. hold up, we about to get this money. Now this is this is where, you know what I'm saying, you can get knocked out or you can continue getting stomped on around right here. This is the question and answering. Lucifer, I'm gonna let you go first since King went first during the rounds. 5 minutes of question and answering a piece. Just let me know when you're ready.
All right. Do you concede that you use the carriers of mitochondrial DNA, which states within that paper that mitochondrial haplogroup L3 has a Eurasian origin?
No, and I don't concede that mitochondrial haplogroup has a Eurasian origin because the consensus is that it emerged in Africa prior to the exit out of Africa, and there were no Eurasians 70,000 years ago, Jashub.
Incorrect. You did reuse that paper. Second question. Do you understand the concept of genetic drift and how it relates to ancient Egyptians?
Yes, it means that Eurasians went through a population bottleneck during the Neolithic before you expanded outwards.
Okay, that's interesting. Population bottleneck. Okay, so ancient Egyptians and the rest of North Africa, was there a Eurasian Neolithic gene flow into it?
Yeah, about 3,000 years ago at a later date.
You read a paper that said it was during the Neolithic transition, which is older than that. Follow-up question. Do you have any ancient DNA samples from the dynastic period that point to an Aterian Stone Age-like African ancestry?
There are no samples from pre-dynastic Egyptians. There's only have been one successful sample retrieve, and it clusters to M1A1, and that's still debated whether or not it emerged in Africa prior to the exit out or after the back migration back. It's just that you're speaking as if it's an absolute.
Okay, so again, that's crazy. So my final, we got 5 questions, right?
Now you got 5 minutes, so you got
5 minutes.
30 minutes left.
5 minutes. All right,
you got 2 minutes left.
So during your debate, so how do you explain haplogroups R1b, haplogroups J, haplogroups T being represented in North Africa anciently from the Neolithic and even older than that? Go ahead.
They're not older than the Neolithic. That's what you're saying. They are associated with Neolithic migrants, you know what I'm saying, and the recent migration 3,000 years ago. They carry SLC24A5 mutation, which is associated with Neolithic farmers, Jashub, and they don't predate the emergence of E haplogroups in and around the area of Egypt.
Well, actually, in your debate, you showed the opposite. You showed that they actually do. They come during the neolithic period. My next question for you is this. Why do we have majority of the DNA samples reflecting? Because remember, the argument is that African continuity from the Stone Age to the dynastic period. Why majority of what we have from the samples from the dynastic period point to a Eurasian origin? Go.
Because they're testing in sites where it was historically occupied by Eurasians, Jashub. They're testing sites like Abu Sir el Malik, which was historically occupied by the Hyksos, the Greeks, the Romans, the Arabs, the Persians, all Eurasians. And even in those sites, you find African haplogroups. How do you explain that?
This is not your turn to ask questions, but you just heard them say that the Eurasian DNA was in ancient Egypt during the dynastic period, which kills the damn argument. All right, following question. What do you do about the Judy Knott 4,000-year-old sample, older than any immigration or invasion event that you keep bringing up? 4,000 years ago, having U5, a Central European clade.
The elites married women from outside of Africa. This is why you only have a mitochondrial haplogroup. It's documented in Egyptian history that they married women from outside of Egypt, which included Europe, Eurasia, and the like. They all, as they do today, niggas still fucking these bitches from other races.
So you're pretty much acquiescing to a discontinuity there if you're acknowledging that U5B is Central European and found in ancient Egypt. What about the autosomes? Do you have autosomes from ancient Egyptians pointing towards Assyria? Because all we have is autosomes pointing to Eurasian, non-African DNA. Go.
There are no samples in Egypt from the Assyrian. The only samples in Egypt are from like mostly the Middle Kingdom, and you only have one from pre-dynastic.
So he just admitted that he doesn't have any DNA evidence to make his claim. Go.
Hold up. We flipping the coin. We flipping the coin. All right, King, you got 5 minutes to question Yashub. I'm gonna start the time when you're ready.
All right. Jashub, E haplogroups migrated to Western Asia. Could that be why Egyptians share genetic affinity with West Eurasians?
No, it's more to it. But once those E haplogroups migrated outward, they became Eurasian.
All right, next question. How is EM78 non-African when it emerged in Africa, Jashub, before migrating out?
Easy, because EM35 goes out and differentiates.
I say EM78.
Yeah, EM35 is the father of EM78. I'm sorry you didn't know that. EM35.
I do know that.
Okay, it comes from outside of Africa. That's your answer.
No, it don't.
Okay, family tree DNA.
All right. If Africans left and came back, what makes them non-Africans, Jashub?
Genetic drift. This is why I asked you, did you understand genetic drift? People they bottleneck and found it happen.
You answered. Did E haplogroups experience a population bottleneck, Jashub?
Yes. All humans did, especially during the Stone Age. You have a lot of suffering and dying and killing, and populations reduced.
That's your opinion. You haven't provided
That's actually the consensus.
You brought up EM81. Where did it originate, Jashub?
EM81, all these clades come from older clades that come and differentiate from Eurasians. I brought that
Where did EM81 originate, Jashub?
Non-African sources in the Sinai.
It originated in North Africa around Morocco.
You asked me the question. Non-African sources.
Next question. It originated in North Africa around Morocco. Is sub-Saharan DNA the only African DNA, as your Suleiman et al. Study suggests, Jashub?
Yes, it is, because all other DNA, like I proved in my debate, North African DNA is closely related to Middle Eastern DNA.
So you're saying that sub-Saharan DNA is the only African DNA. Gotcha. How is EM180 Eurasian when it originated in Africa and is found in African Americans today, Jashub?
EM180 is not Eurasian. It's sub-Saharan African.
It was found in the first millennium BC mummy. Is it the consensus? Hold up. Is it the consensus that L3 originated in Africa, Jashub? Is that the consensus?
It's not. There's no consensus on it. And you provided a paper. There's two parties. I can tell you there's two parties in this.
You answered.
You provided a paper showing Eurasian origin.
What Eurasians existed 70,000 years ago, Jashub?
The basal Eurasians. This is a very simple, silly question. Basal Eurasians.
So you're telling me the basal Eurasians existed before the migration out of Africa?
Yes.
That's
what they're calling genetic. That's not a fallacy. You don't understand the science.
If Africans migrated out and returned, what changed their African genetics?
I told you, genetic drift, differentiation. They make clades and autosomes that are completely different and distinct from ancient Africans. This is clear. If it worked like you said it worked, everybody in the world will have the same genetics.
By your logic, I'm not African. By your logic, right?
You have sub-Saharan African genomes. Ancient Egyptians
Does these migrations suggest entire populations moving or a few people?
What migrations? Are you admitting again?
Does the genetic migrations suggest entire populations moving or a few people?
I got you. Post-migrations, the multiple migrations over time. That's my answer.
So you duck that question.
That's not a duck. That's literally what happened.
Yeah,
post-migration.
You duck that question.
You had migrations in the Upper Paleolithic and the Neolithic. Going all the way stretching to the dynastic period.
How do you explain African haplogroups in Roman era mummies that emerged over 20,000 years ago? How do you rectify that problem?
Roman era mummies. You must be talking about EV22, which is outside the scope of this because it's outside the dynastic period. But EV22
no,
also.
I never mentioned that.
Hold on, that's what you're talking about.
No, that's not what I'm talking about.
Okay, so give me the reference. Because the only reference in the Egyptian with EV22.
EM35 originated in East Africa and is found in your Shunaman et al. Study, Jashub. How are you placing the origin of EM35 outside of Africa when it originated in East Africa around Ethiopia and is found in your Shunaman et al. Study?
In Schumann et al., I showed y'all twice that it says E1B11, which is EM35, came from outside of Africa and came from the Near East. The same paper. He keeps cutting himself. The paper clearly states E1B1 starts in the Near East. How do you keep doing this?
Can you show us that EM35 originating outside Africa is the consensus among geneticists?
Tom. That is the end. That is the end of the debate. That is the end of the debate.
Shit,
hey, and let me say this real quick. I had 2 judges that was like they running late. So you know what? We just gonna do the poll. I'm gonna give it up to the people. We're gonna do the poll.
Bro, damn, really? Nah, we need a judge.
I don't want no bias. Now I'm saying 2 of them was like I'm running late, so I'm gonna just let all of them. Everybody gonna just do the poll.
What about the rest of them? Come on, bro. We gotta have some panel judges, bro. Come on, bro.
Some of them go hit the panel, but you can. I'm saying the total amount of judges I wanted, it ain't gonna happen like that.
So how many do you have left, bro? You can't rob me of this, bro. I put a lot in this, bro.
Bro, you scared of the poll?
No, I'm not. But I would like it to be judged.
This is what I'm saying, Reuben. How we did it. The final line is the judges and the poll. I'm saying I don't want to do the judges because 2 of them said they was running late. So I don't want no miscommunication.
But you got 6 of them. You got 6 of them, bro.
Right.
So let's do the judges, bro. Please.
This what I'm saying.
Come on, man.
Bro, stop complaining, bro. The poll is good enough. It's 30 people in the chat. The poll good enough.
I'm good with whatever you decide, Wavy.
All right, so look, this is what we're gonna do. I dropped the link in the chat for the people to come on and holler at us, and I'm about to put the poll up right now. Who just came on? Both of the debaters, y'all sit back, relax. If they got questions for you, y'all can answer their questions. We ain't gonna go back and forth. We ain't go argue with the debaters tonight. They just put on the show. You know what I'm saying? Appreciate both of the debaters. Yeah, you got the flow.
I had some trouble with my headphones. Finally, I just snatched them out. I just snatched them out. So I caught the end, a good of the end. So I'm gonna review, and I'm just gonna put my I'm gonna review again because I don't want to say nothing without adding up all the facts, bro. You know I gotta be 100. So let me do that, y'all, to be 100 on both sides to get every fact lined up. But I will say that I can tell you that Jashub was at a losing point already because them people we talking about, them ancient civilizations, those are Africoid people. So
it wasn't. No, it wasn't.
You will be correct, yeah, because when they did the skull morphology on the Natufians, they found that they had sub-Saharan African affinities according to the skull morphology. Now they do differ in genetics, but they still carry markers that are, at the end of the day, came up out of Africa and populated the Levant.
Well, they got the Zoli inscriptions. The Zoli inscriptions tell you about when they actually first inherited the original people who stayed there, and the Chinese said that they were greasy, oily Africoid people. So
real quick, Cedric said he been watching the whole time, bro. Like we need this judge, man.
All right, Cedric was supposed to be the host, gang. You ain't hear me say Cedric was gonna be the judge, but just stay in your place and sit back. The poll good enough. All right, this is what we need to do. Yeah, you got a question for any of the debaters?
That's crazy.
Yeah, I got a question. For Jashub.
Go ahead.
So are you saying that that there's not Africoid? Those people in the Asian or the Asian minor are not they're not Africoid people.
They're not African genetically. That's the argument. That's the topic.
Okay,
They're not
so the
African
crazy
genetically.
thing in the you
There
know,
is no
like in the
crazy thing about that.
let me grab my book real quick. I want to hit you with the facts, right? I
It's
got
not a
facts
fact.
for you on that, and I just wanted to make sure that you so I actually studying that, so it's kind of funny that this
It's kind
debate
of funny
popped
that I
up.
go off of up-to-date scientific information. That's funny.
All right, so look, I want to just show you a couple key facts. I ain't gonna be too long. I ain't gonna be long winded because I know everybody else got to talk too. But look, the
You know,
British description of Korea and everything in this whole area. But the British description in 1895. This is just some information. Arnold Henry Savage Lander of Korea. He mentions these people in the land of Malcolm in 1895 and all over Asia. But even before that, we know that in the ancient times, when you look into the like I was mentioning, the Heijong-Gari dynasty, or you can even go into the Shir dynasty, you'll find out them people were Africoid people that
they were not
reside.
African genetically. They're not African genetically. Show me
They
a
found it in the
Show me
manga,
their
and
DNA. Show me their DNA, brother.
Okay,
Yaratazak.
but look,
Show me
you know
their
in the
DNA.
manga caves, all through China, they have they dug up Africoid, you know what I'm saying? They found Africoid genetics out through there. But
No,
yeah, I
they did
mean
not.
that's just the facts on it. But
I can give you all of the Chinese findings genetically, and all of it is none
I
African.
don't know how you missing it then, brother. But because everybody
Listen
know
at
it. But
listen at
even the
the
Shir
people in the
dynasty.
field publishing.
I mean, but look,
All right, hold up, y'all.
Hey, yeah, debate me on it.
yeah, I smash you on it.
Yeah, debate me on ancient Chinese people having being African genetically.
To piggyback on what you're saying, yeah, what corroborates that information you brought is the Southeast Asian populations who are classified as Negrito, and they are Negrito is another word for Negro. It just means little Negro. So these people of Southeast Asia, who are the oldest populations, were phenotypically African.
Exactly.
Hold on. Let me get Misery up in here. All right, Misery, you there? Jose, you there?
Yeah.
All right, you got the flow. Hey, hold on real quick. Hey, yeah, who you get a win to?
I'm gonna go ahead and get a win to Jedi Rule because Jashub saying some stupid shit, talking about some
All right, hold on, yeah. I got you. All right, Jose, Misery, you got the flow.
Oh, so I don't know. Yeah, I was a judge. I'll just wait for the other judges to join. I was gonna wait for him.
Nah, you good. Go ahead. You got the flow. It's on you.
All right. Yeah, I watched the debate from the beginning. I would say that that Jashub won. I would say 2 out of the 3 rounds. Reason being because his I would say that his second and third round is something that I wish that Reuben probably should have done, was at least give like a minute or two for a rebuttal for what was being said. You know what I'm saying? And Jashub did do that in the second and third round before he got into his presentation. He did try to rebuttal certain things that Reuben was bringing out. I would say another issue about why Reuben probably lost those 2 to 3 rounds, in my opinion, he was doing a lot of reading, and for the people that were listening, I think he could have stopped reading for a second and maybe explain more or elaborate more of what he was reading to give us the audience a better understanding. But I would say that in the questioning around Reuben, yeah, I would say Reuben did a really good job, not only answering the questions. Um, I'll say he gave a better explanation in the questioning and answering round. And then when it was his turn to ask questions, I believe Jashub didn't do as well. Um, but I would say from that, it would be a draw. You know what I'm saying? Because, like I said, I would say Joe Shub out of the 2 to 3 rounds, but I would give the questioning round to Reuben. So making it a tie, 2 to 2. You know what I'm saying? If you want to break it down like that.
All
But
right,
it was an interesting debate. You know what I'm saying?
appreciate your misery. Appreciate your misery. All right, Big Gullah Geechee in the building. What's goody? Gullah, you there?
Yeah, what's good? What's good with it, man?
What's up with it, Big Gullah, man? How you feel about this debate?
Man, it was cool, man. I feel like there was a lot of points missed out on both sides, for real, from my point of view. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you do got a heavy, you know what I'm saying? For a long time, you did have a back migration of Eurasians, even since what 23,000 years ago. You know what I'm saying? Starting with the, you know what I'm saying? Starting with the, with you know, with the Beige Eurasian back migrations was even formed, the Iberian Maroosians. And we kept asking what about the Tyrian genetics. You know what I'm saying? If you studied Iberian Maroosians genetics, they already was mixed with the Tyrians by the time you even, you know what I'm saying, later on, by the time you even later on got to Egyptians. So the Iberian Maroosians itself, their DNA, you know what I'm saying, even in the Tufian DNA, which is, you know, Iberian Maroosian like, you know what I'm saying, come from that Druzana type genetics, you know what I'm saying, come from like these early Bayesian races. The dudes already was mixed with Tyrian genetics, you know what I'm saying, during the Stone Age. So that was already, you know, mixed in by the time you got to the later on genetics itself. That's just from looking at deep dive. And L3 do come from you know what I'm saying, East Africa, yo. You know what I'm saying? That paper come from the 2018 paper. You look at the 2019 paper, you know what I'm saying? That been rebutted already. You know what I'm saying? He might have used that paper, but you know what I'm saying? The current consensus is L3 come from East Africa because they found that old N in North Africa. You know what I'm saying? And then
Right,
ETB.
as well as L7. The L7 is another one that proved L3 originated inside of Africa and not out. I guess Jashub don't know about that.
Actually, you didn't read that paper. You read the other one, so you cut yourself. Secondly, the 2025 paper says that N marker is more basal in the Romanian sample. So the origin for N is not within Africa. It even says it splits from the Africa.
It's not. No, it's not. But it's just how basal it is. It's not saying that it come from me. I'm saying it started in Africa. It's how basal it is. The L3 come out of Africa.
Right. So listen to what I'm saying. The more basal haplogroup N is outside of Africa and Europe, Eastern Europe. It says that in their paper, and it also says that those people in the Decory Rock Shelter. I had these slides in my my PowerPoint, but I couldn't get to them because there was a lot of information. But it says that they have a more affinity to Salati Kun, which is another European or Eurasian sample than they do to sub-Saharan Africans. They're more closely related, even more closely related than the Moda sample. That's what the paper says.
But you were asked about L3, not N, and you made the claim that L3 originated in Eurasia.
No, I didn't make. Listen, hold on. You read a paper in your third round saying L3 originated outside of.
Stop. I didn't cut you off. I didn't cut you off, brother.
No,
I didn't cut you off.
It really wouldn't matter because how basal it is. You know what I'm saying? To them early basic raisins, they weren't no light skinned people yet. You know what I'm saying? They wouldn't look like no Nigerians either, though. But they probably look like something like people from South India, South Asia.
Right, and see that's what he tried to make the debate about sub-Saharan Africans. You know what I'm saying? And you heard him say it. He said that sub-Saharan African is the only African DNA that can be defined as African. I asked him that in the question and answer round, and he said yes, sub-Saharan African ancestry is the only African ancestry. That's what he said.
What was my answer? Because what we call our autochthonous component, which was in my first round and in my second round of North Africa, comes from outside of Africa. Ancestral North African, the paper that he's talking about, comes from out of African. Hold on, let me finish. out of
You cut
African
me off.
population. All of
The
that stuff comes from
autochthonous
Eurasians.
location of haplogroup EM78 will be where it emerged at, Jashub,
Yeah,
and that is
no, you're wrong. You're wrong because
no,
again,
no,
all the
EM
papers. Hold on. All the
Can you
papers say
define
the
autochthonous
approximate.
for us?
Listen,
Hold
I'm
up,
about
hold
to
up,
tell you.
Reuben, hold up.
This
Let
the
go
thing.
too.
This the thing, though. This the thing,
All
y'all
the
missing when I
papers say
read
that
it.
the autochthonous component in North Africans come from outside of Africa. All of them. All of up-to-date science says that.
No up-to-date science say EM78 come outside of Africa.
Yes, it
EM78.
does.
No, I don't, bro. EM78 got branches, dog.
I shared it.
Like when you reading it, you know what I'm saying?
I shared the source. What are you talking about?
No, I don't. No, that's an old source, bro.
No, it's not. That was up to date.
Nah, dog. Ain't no source say
You weren't paying
EM78.
attention to my debate because I said that. I showed it.
No, it ain't no paper that's you gotta show me that again, bro. There ain't no paper, no modern paper that say EM78. Come out.
The study I read.
You come out of southern Egypt, bro. It got branches. It got it got all the branches spread it out. Some went outside of Africa and stuff like that. But when you reading it, EM78 represents all its branches too. So when they talking about lower other branches, they still talking about EM78, even though it might be outside of Africa. It could be talking about its sub branch. You know what I'm saying? But the main basal branch, the top of the branch, come outside of southern Egypt. That's the scientific consensus, bro. You know what I'm saying?
It's not.
Right.
So
The study I shared
respond to what he just said.
Showing the origin of EM78 in Northeast Africa.
Hey King, I'm gonna let you go right after Lucifer. Go ahead, Lucifer.
Again, I knew he was gonna come with E1B1B and try to go to these old EM78 markers, not even consider the branches. But even when we talking about that, the Schumann et al. Paper tells him that it comes from the Near East. That's what they favor.
It said it carried the genetics, like that thing mixed, like it mixed up when it migrated. When Marcus migrated, they don't migrate alone, bro. You know what I'm saying? When EM78 dudes intermingling with back Eurasian, back migrants and all that shit, and back migrating to the continent, it was a lot of this shit was migrating through Cushitic groups, South Cushitic groups, all them different groups is mixed, bro. I know the tribes, dog. Like personally, I do this shit. I went to school for anthropology.
But can someone actually show like a source of like basically what you guys are discussing about?
I got it. It's on the screen. Just share my screen.
Yeah,
crazy.
I want to see something with origin. You know, according to what DNA said. Where is it originating?
The paper he used. Watch this. I'm gonna show you. Hold on. Is my screen being shared? I gotta go all the way back to the beginning, man. Yeah. The paper he used, he went to Schumann et al. I said this twice in my.
And we're arguing. You said the E78. Is that what you're saying right now?
This is where Family Tree puts EM35. Y'all see that?
Okay, E35.
All right, so that's where Family Tree places it, and then EM78 splits from EM35 and it skirts across North Africa. Let me go back. What that say right there? The current distribution, the E1B1 in North Africa could also be caused by the back migration from the Near East to Africa. Now, he went to the Schumann et al. Paper and read it.
It's about sub branches though. It's because some of them branches back migrated out. You can mutate.
No, it's not talking about that. Hold on, I'm gonna tell you why it's not talking about that because it refers to older work. And the older work.
DNA, bro. I got stuff from 2000 and this from 2017, bro.
Yes, this is from 2017. Yes, it's from 2017. Maybe you were not listening to this part of the debate.
No, I'm saying I got papers that's more recent than this.
I got more recent papers too.
Come out of Northeast Africa, bro.
I have more recent papers.
We've been talking about this shit for a long ass time, dog.
2024, 2023, 2022, all through my shit.
EM78 come out of Northeast Africa, bro. Its branches come out of other places, like even EM81. You know what I'm saying? Them North area, it don't even matter anyway. Them North areas climate is still similar to the Middle East anyway.
It's still, and the autosome still going to be highly Eurasian.
But North Africa, some of this shit is indigenous just to North Africa and this and that region itself. You know what I'm saying? Like EM35, EM78 come from EM35. EM35 come from EM215. You know what I'm saying? That shit come out of Northeast Africa, bro. Like,
cool. So
can I ask a question about the source?
EM78 is indigenous to that motherfucking Egyptian area. Even though during the same time you had back migrations of Bayesian Eurasians coming back in mixing with that same time. You know what I'm saying? The EM78 actually represents the Amadic component that you find in Egyptians. That's what that is. The E mark is the Amadic component. You can find a little bit of it in the Tufis, the little 6%. You know what I'm saying? That's them E markers, that's them E3B markers migrating into that area. That's where the language comes from. You know what I'm saying? Afro-Asiatic language from.
Right. And the genetic migration matches the spread of Afro-Asiatic and the spread of pastoralism within Africa, Jashub.
Can I ask a question about the source that's posted right now? Because, it does say, the current distribution of the E1B1 in North Africa, it said could also be caused by the back migration. Now, the source that you posted up, like, is not really being definitive, right? It seems like it's giving an opinion. You know what I mean? Because if it were giving like back, it would have said like in North Africa was from the back migration. You know what I mean?
Right. So Jose,
when it says
science,
also could be caused,
you're right.
meaning okay.
You're right, because science doesn't speak in absolutes. They speak in
stop sharing your screen. Let me share my screen right quick.
They speak in approximates. So they're not going to make definitive claims about shit that happened 30, 40,000 years ago.
Stop sharing your screen. Let me share my screen.
Hold on, but even with the, like I just said, an approximate, even an approximate is still a guess. That's what I'm saying. So it's not really a fact. They're basically giving guesses, right? Like if I say there was approximately 50,000 people at this baseball game, you know what I'm saying? I'm just giving like basically my opinion, right?
No, it's not like that in science, because they're basing it off of the information that they have. It's not just a blanket guess. They're using the data to come to the conclusions that they have. Now, we don't have samples going back to the origin of E1, B1, B 40,000 years ago. So what they can do is called postulation. They're postulating based on other factors.
Let me share my screen. Stop sharing your screen.
So that's speaking absolutes then. All right. Okay.
No, they don't speak in absolutes.
All right.
Stop.
Yeah. I was like, even the Amadic population, they got the oldest EMB markers. They got EM35 and all of the older markers.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It should show you this, you know what I'm saying? Wherever EM it come from a bottleneck reduction of that particular East African group. They mix with them Eurasian population.
Let me get King the floor. King, you want the screen? Go ahead.
Stop sharing your screen, Joshua. Hold up.
Just go ahead and do it.
All right, I got you. Look, cause see, he want to play this game with postulations, right? This is from from 2024. Look what it says: the geographic and quantitative analysis of haplogroup and microsatellite diversity is strongly suggestive of a northeastern African origin of EM78, with a corridor of bidirectional migrations between northeast and eastern Africa. At least 2 episodes between 23.9 thousand and 17.3 thousand years ago, and 18,000 and 5.9 thousand years ago. That's from 2024, Jashub, and that was in my presentation. So how are you giving us postulations? How are you giving us postulations as if they're absolutes?
That was a postulation that you just read.
I didn't see could be.
No,
in that.
There is a postulation. They don't have ancient samples.
Postulation.
This dude don't know. This don't know.
And I have to agree with that, Reuben.
That was a postulation. What you just read was a postulation. Well, cool. EM78, where are you going to place it? EM35, where does it come from? Where does it come
Africa.
from?
It comes from East Africa.
Right, now, what's the autosomal composition of those people that were living during that time? What is it?
I mean, that's irrelevant.
That is relevant. That's a part of that genome. Majority of it's Eurasian. That's the problem.
Can you give us an up-to-date source that places the origin of EM35 outside of Africa?
I did already twice.
Pull it up. Share your screen.
I showed you family tree DNA, plotting the damn DNA, plotting the marker outside of Africa. I just literally just showed you that.
Hey, Gullah. Gullah, you there?
But that's besides the point. The point is you have to show that.
Hold on real quick. Hold on, Yashu. Hey, Gullah, who you get a dub to?
You said what now?
Who you get a dub to?
What you talking
For this
about?
debate, who you get a dub to?
I don't know, man. Shit. You know I am. You know, so you gotta be. Shit. You gotta be on point. Fuck with me. I kind of don't even want to say.
All right. Got Ratchet Craig in the motherfucking building. I guess Gullah saying it's a tie. I'm gonna say the polls after Ratchet Craig go in. The poll results. Ratchet Craig, talk black to me.
Man. It was a nice debate, man. Good putting on a good show. 2 undefeated champs came in here. You know I gotta do my politics, man. I don't wanna declare no winner because, you know, I've been knowing both of these brothers for a long time. Matter of fact, I do Reuben longer than I do Jashub. So, but you know, me and Jashub homies. So, you know, I don't want to put no vote on this, but it was a nice debate, man. I just want to see what the people got to say at this point, since we couldn't get judges up here.
Most
So
definitely.
yeah.
Most definitely.
Hey, I even got ChatGPT. It said recent genetic studies continue to support the Northeast.
Like Gullah got hit with the pseudo bug. Where you at,
Yeah, man. I told you, man. My vote, man, 100% gotta go to Reuben, bro.
Yeah.
I was
trying to read out the latest consensus based on
Gullah. Go ahead, Gullah.
Now I was trying to read the latest consensus on ChatGPT, and you say the latest, you know, genetic consensus say EM78, you know what I'm saying, origins is Northeast Africa.
All right, that's cool.
Genetic. I mean, I know, you know, I read all these papers all damn day.
That's
you know
cool.
What I'm saying?
Let's say that, right?
But it don't matter though, you know what I'm saying? It went to a bottom. It went to a bottleneck reduction.
I said
And even
that's what I said.
Yeah, and even Soy Kieta say you got to be careful with some of these you know what I'm saying, with some of the computer you know, so when they put the genetics in too, because they come up with different results. Because even some results found some of the, you know what I'm saying, indigenous African genetics in the you know what I'm saying, Egyptian, which is most likely which is East African and Nilotic shit, you know what I'm saying. But it didn't excuse other affinities either. You know what I'm saying? That's what Kiata said. That's the latest for these. You know what I'm saying? They could come over different results, but it depends on the region too. You know what I'm saying?
Right. You're right, Gullah, because EM78.
Everybody hold up. Everybody relax.
Hold
up, Kirby. Put a bookmark right there. The poll results is Lucifer is winning 75 to King 25. The poll is 75 to 25. That's what the people were saying. 36 votes in. That's what the people were saying.
How long you gonna have that poll up, brother?
As soon as we end the show, I'm gonna take it on.
Okay.
We're gonna have clone groups come in and shit.
Yeah, I need to go ahead and my vote on there too, man.
I think you should give it another 20 minutes, Superway.
Hell no.
20 minutes.
This is what got me pissed, right? Because I worked all fucking last week and all this week. I didn't have no time to even put my shit together. And I spent all yesterday and this morning up to the debate putting my shit together. I don't even get live judges, man. That shit kind of ticking me off, bro. But I know it's out of your hand, man. But that's damn.
Hey, it's hard to get people to judge the debate, brother. Nowadays.
I get it. I've been through that.
Hey,
shit.
you gotta understand. You gotta understand with the politics. You know what I'm saying? Like you beefing with niggas, Naga beefing with niggas. It's politics. You know what I'm saying? So rather me bringing somebody on that haven't watched the debate, watch half of the debate, we're gonna leave it up to the people. You know what I'm saying?
I feel
Misery watched the debate, and Gullah watched the debate. Both of them said it's a tie, but the polls say different.
I don't think
Hey, bro, look, bro.
no business watching the debate. I think they going off they.
Hey man,
I need to post
man.
I didn't even know we had a poll.
Y'all watch the debate too.
In the middle, bro.
Hey, y'all wrapped this up. You said you watched
Look,
only the last few minutes of it and you couldn't give a judgment. Then you gave a judgment. But I want to say this.
Yeah, but this is the thing, bro. I study the same shit that y'all debating on, right?
Hold on, chill out,
So
bro. You
here
can't
go
debate
the
something. You can't judge something you didn't watch.
all day, all night.
You can't judge something you didn't watch.
Can I talk, bro?
I'm not. I want
Can I
to read a
talk?
statement that you made before he gave the announcement.
All right, so can I talk, bro?
Bro, but
I ain't trying to be on no contentious shit.
But I
with you
do
or
want to
nothing. I'm
respond
just
to the
saying,
statement
bro,
you
look.
made prior to him announcing the score.
All right, but let me just make my statement then. Let me just make a statement so you can rebuttal the full thing. The fact that you saying like shit like these people went Africoid and it's so much proof, bro. It's mountains of proof about that shit, bro. I study the same shit, bro. I go over this shit all day. Bro, it's tons of proof, bro. And like for you to miss that shit, even if you want to run into genetic markers, bro, that shit is crazy. It's so much, it's the teachings, it's genetic, it's findings, Africoid findings. It's from the people who live in the areas today are saying that Africoids were there first. They civilizations was built up by Egyptians and different Africans. So it's just like the dumbest shit to say what you be saying, bro. But it's cool.
Okay.
I ain't gonna be
So the scientific.
but yeah, so that's why I give it to Reuben.
All right, yeah, because you didn't watch the debate. But anyway, we're going back to this Chinese thing. I would like to debate you on these Chinese people having the African genetic profile. We need to debate that. You keep saying this and bringing this up. Let's debate it. Wavy here, set it up.
He didn't say that's not what he said. He said they were Africoid,
Bro,
meaning phenotypically African, and that's what you.
No,
that's what you find.
Genetic.
That's what, bro. I didn't cut you off. That's what you find in the Natufian skull morphology. This is what you also find in Southeast Asia. They would have been Africoid phenotypically. That's what he said.
They call themselves blackheads, and the name that they refer to themselves as is Lee Men. Just like you got the so-called people that are Arcadians who call themselves blackheads as
is
well.
no longer utilized.
Refer to themselves as
Craniometry is no longer utilized by modern scientists. That is a pseudoscience. You cannot use the shape and form of someone's skull to determine their deep ancestry.
So why are you even bringing up haplogroups then?
Because that's what actually does show ancestry.
No, bro.
Your genetic, and I use
look.
all of your genetic code. Your haplogroups, which is your Y DNA and mitochondrial DNA, and your autosomal DNA.
They still
He didn't mention autosomal DNA because ain't no autosomal DNA in his
Jashub, are you aware why they can't?
Y'all wrap this out, man.
Jashub, are you aware why they can't use skull morphology no more?
Because phenotype is plastic.
Because the African
phenotype is plastic.
Because the Africans
phenotype is plastic.
Because the Africans have the diversity to include all of the skull morphology types.
The answer is phenotype. Phenotype is plastic, bro.
Oh man.
That's the answer.
Are you aware that African diversity accounts for all of the different skull morphologies that we have?
They don't.
Let me pull up a source.
No, because there's novel skull types that exist outside of Africa. That's dumb.
Hey, what brother y'all, what's your name, brother y'all? I'm gonna say you, brother y'all. Brother y'all, what your contention is with Jashub?
Just the denial of saying that there's no Africoids or these people ain't Africoid. When we know that these people are Africoid, and there's so many ways to prove it. Like I said, it's tons of information.
Who are these people that's Africoid? I just want to know who the people that's Africoid.
Ancient Chinese.
The people who dispersed into the Asian Minor, Anatolia, Turk, all that in the early times, and I got definitive information to prove that.
So you saying science saying this, or
that's
you saying
supported by
science saying
anthropology.
this? Is you saying science saying this, brother? Yeah.
Look at the
that's supported by
sunshine.
anthropology. Yes.
if you look at the Santa de los Santos Negritos Chene, it's this is written by the Chinese people, and it's showing you the history of the Africoid people, who they come from. They mention these people have been short black monks. But you can look also in the
they were
you
pygmies.
can also look in the Song Lee in another ancient text, and they're gonna mention when they get there, which is telling you that they not the people who was originally there. When they get there, they run into Africoid people. I can give you
So
names of these
are you
Chinese
saying
men.
you said they was short? You said they was short. Are you they was the pygmy people that came out of Africa?
The Negritos are a disbursement of the pygmies.
Okay.
Niggas want to
Okay,
be
you got something, Jashub. You got something, Jashub. You got
niggas.
something there.
Hey, debate me on the Chinese. Is their ancestry African? The ancient Chinese. Just
And
debate me.
look, it's two. We gotta get on file that there's different dynasties. So if we talking about the origins of the people who was there first, yeah, I debate that them people were Africoid.
All right, let's do it.
If you talking about the last dynasty who came in and wiped out the Africoid people,
we're having an ancestry debate then. So that's
okay.
to have an ancestry debate. Put ancestry in the title. You got your debate. When you want to do this?
Were the Chinese first Africoid, or were they who
ancestrally?
They are today?
Ancestrally.
Okay, that's cool. I say, bro, that's a good topic. And shit, Wavy, you hear it right now. You know what I mean? We right here right now, man. So we can put a date on that, man.
Hey, hold on. The thing is, you had Melanesian people that took a southern route. They had different genetic gene pool than the East Asian indigenous groups did. That came in from like Central East. You know what I'm saying? They went down south and mixed with them people, bro. You know what I'm saying? That's what we got a lot of, like the people with the chinky looking eye and mixed with some of them, you know what I'm saying, indigenous Melanesian.
Oh my God, man. I need a fucking Motrin.
Fucking Motrin. This nigga wow. Go ahead. What you about to say?
No, you got it. You finna announce the poll.
Oh, you
I still put my vote on there, man. I got to put mine on there too. Let me go to it.
No, I thought you were about to announce the thing because you said something. But
nah, Gully, you fell off. Go ahead, Gully.
No, I'm saying them people they mix with them people that was in equatorial zones. But they got the oldest bones, you know what I'm saying, that look like, you know what I'm saying, East Asians. They go back 40,000 years, you know what I'm saying, before they migrated.
Those people non-African.
Yeah, all of them non-African. Even the Andamanese Island, they not African.
They all non-African. Right, they all Eurasian. The Andaman Islanders are Eurasian, but when you look at their phenotype, they're phenotypically African. That's what y'all was talking about.
Yeah,
real quick.
That's a
I wouldn't say they would
be.
Hold on, bro. I wouldn't say they would be.
Let Gullah talk. Let Gullah talk. I wonder what Gullah got to say on this.
No, I was gonna say it wouldn't be phenotypically African. It'd be phenotypically equatorial, because the reason why Africans look the way they look because the equatorial zones. That's the only reason. If you're in that zone, you're gonna look like that. You know what I'm saying? It just what happened that
I
agree. In the equatorial zone.
I don't agree with that. That's like the dumbest shit I heard tonight too, bro. To be honest with you.
That's the reason why.
Yeah, that shit sound dumb to me too. Go ahead.
Yeah. So anyway,
that's the reason why
you look at the
what sound dumb again?
When you look at the DNA series of a so-called chimpanzee is like a DNA. He got the DNA series like a 4 DNA series. When you look at the so-called ape, he got the 5 DNA series. When you look at every other people on the planet right now, besides the Africoid people, you know what I mean, bro? They got the 6 DNA series. African people have the 9 DNA series. That means they have the most diverse DNA series. So like, you know, that shit that he just said, that's why it just sounds stupid. If you get
He with the Balakai York, nigga. He with the Balakai York.
What did he say? What did he say? I missed it. What was he said I said something stupid. What was the stupid remark?
No, I was
The
talking
stupid
about
remark
Gullah
you
that
made
time.
was that.
I'm asking Yarata Zaka.
Hey,
Yeah, I
but
was
we the
talking about Gullah
debaters.
that
And
time,
I'm
brother.
asking Yarata Zaka. He said I said something stupid. I'm trying to find out what it was.
All
I was
right.
talking
What
about
I
Gullah,
found that
brother.
you said was stupid
No,
that
hey man,
the,
he said
the
it, bro.
Egyptians were
Hey,
surrogates
Reuben.
to
Hey, Reuben, can you
non-Africans. That mean they
explain?
gave birth to them.
No, that's
Hey,
not what
Reuben.
I said. But Yarata Zaka, can you please tell me what was a stupid remark?
He said
It
he
was
was
a Gullah.
talking to Gunner. Hold up real quick.
Okay.
Hold up
I
real
thought you
quick.
were talking
Hey,
to me.
Misery, you got a question for Ruben? Go ahead.
Oh yeah, yeah, Reuben. On the chat, everybody's asking, what is an Africanoid? Like, can you explain that to them? Because I don't know if they understand it. I've seen a lot of comments on there.
Oh well, what he was saying about Africa, that would be the typical Negro phenotype. You know what I'm saying? It's not necessarily dealing with ancestry. It's more speaking of phenotype. You know what I'm saying? Africa would be a Negro, a Negrito phenotype, basically. Both of them would be like Gullah say, equatorial.
Hey, Rube, I got a question for you. So, do you think the phenotype, uh, I guess, inheritance for being on the equatorial zone, you think that that's a lineage too? Do you think that's a lineage too on telling ancestry?
No, it because the lineage and the phenotype really not synonymous. You know what I'm saying? Because you could have someone carrying an African haplogroup with a European phenotype and vice versa. You know what I'm saying? But it's like what my point was that these haplogroups that we're finding in Egyptian mummies, both E1B1A and E1B1B, originated in Africa before a Eurasian immigrated into Africa.
Hey, can I respond to that?
Did you give a mommy? My fault, Joshua. I'm gonna let you do it. My
I
fault.
just respond what was just being said, what you pretty much proposed to him, which is what these people are missing. They're missing genetic drift, bottlenecking. These clades, they're not EM78. They're downstream clades. They're downstream clades of EM35. They're downstream clades of EM123. These downstream descendant clades are Eurasian. They're Eurasian. All the evidence points towards it. Because when we
No,
look
it
at it,
doesn't. No, it
majority of
doesn't.
the
Because
nuclear genome, I'm
EM78,
talking,
the
bro.
downstream
I'm
clade of
talking.
EM78
All right, so we
migrated
over
south
talking
into
niggas
the
now. That's what we're
Sudan,
gonna
brother.
do. All right, so like I said, majority of the damn autosomal genomes point to Eurasians, not no damn Africans.
Brother,
Ain't no brother nothing, man.
brother, EM78 originated in Africa. Get over it. EM35 originated in Africa.
Exactly. So just
Get
say
over it.
all people originate
EM81
from Africa.
originated
All
in
people originate
Africa.
from Africa.
Get over
What
it.
makes us different? What makes us
R1B didn't.
different?
R1
Drift.
brother. R1B
Genetic
didn't
drift
originate.
makes us different.
R1B did not originate in Africa, brother.
All people originate in
R1B
Africa
from
ultimately.
your study did not originate in
Again,
Africa, brother.
just saying someone
But
originated in Africa does not
haplogroup
account for genetic
originated
differences and
in
differentiation.
Africa.
That's your problem.
Jashub, am I African?
Yes, majority of your autosomes
was I born in Africa?
I don't know your haplotype.
Was I born in Africa, nigga?
This nigga stupid.
Was I born in Africa?
This nigga stupid, man.
It's a yes or no question.
It's a dumbass question. I just answered you.
It's a yes or no question.
Most of your autosomes are African, so yes, you're African. It has nothing to do with your geolocation.
Real quick, fighters, relax.
It has nothing to do with your geolocation. Your autosomes show.
Y'all relax. I muted both of y'all mic. All right, hear me. What's good?
What's good, bro? I just can't. I wanted to basically ask the question that Jashub kind of already answered, right? Is basically are if everybody originated, if all people originated from Africa, then what sets people apart? And I think that's what they debate should have been over, like the DNA. And so I think Jashub did a great job of showing how the different DNAs existed outside of Africa, due to genetic drift and all that different stuff. Reuben had some good points too, but if y'all can answer that for me, if everybody originated from Africa, what is sets people apart, and how do you determine the different people?
Oh, mutation. It will be mutations like was found in his favorite study, SLC 24A5, and there's another one that wasn't found, SLC 45A2. Is mutations like that account for phenotypic differences, and and it's basically dealing with location and diet, climate, you know what I'm saying? Your environment is what triggers these mutations. And the people he's trying to push as original indigenous Egyptians have mutations that originated in Anatolia, you know what I'm saying? And only spread to
That's my
Africa
point.
after the Neolithic expansion, as recent as 3,000 years ago.
Which is crazy because I showed in my rounds the old kingdom sample. I showed that the presence of this DNA has been there since 15,000 years ago. I showed that North African autochthonous lineages are actually a back to Africa migration lineage. I showed all of that. This is
Yeah.
crazy talk here. So
Hey,
yes,
y'all,
mutations.
Misery and Gullah, what y'all got to say about that? Like, cause I'm learning this shit. Like, I ain't as deep into that as y'all with the ancestry and all that. What y'all think about what I asked and what they just responded to? Y'all, Misery and Gullah.
Thing, the thing
I
is,
think
he's trying to make it like an African went 100 miles north, turned around and came back, and magically became something else. That's what he's trying to paint. That's the picture he's
But
trying
you
to paint
just
for us.
explained that it did. But that when I asked you, Ruben,
No,
you explained
those,
that
those,
mutations because if everybody listen,
those,
if listen,
hear
you
me.
said hold on, let's let me finish. You said
I know where you're
everybody.
going. That's with the haplogroups that migrated far into Asia. When I'm talking about like EM78, only migrated into Europe, the Levant, and West Eurasia. You know what I'm saying? The ones that back migrated into Africa went into the Arabian Peninsula, came right back across the Red Sea into the Horn of Africa. There is nothing to change them from being African. Nothing.
That's not how
the only
DNA
thing that
works.
ever changed was
How do
genetic.
how
Again,
If
genetic
we
drift
going off of
happens.
phenotypes and climate
Not
adaptation
all
or whatever,
phenotypes. Not off of that.
if we going off of
It's
but
that or
not.
whatever,
phenotype
when you
said ain't DNA though. Phenotypes don't like a phenotype
phenotypes
can change without
because
the
of climate
DNA.
migration, because of the migrations
Right,
that you
right, but
take,
that's
you know
not
what
a
I'm saying?
genetic.
But
That's not a
hold
genetic
on, they
change
can't
though.
even let me say shit before you start saying something, bro. If I migrate to
My
somewhere
bad,
colder,
go.
right? And you live somewhere hotter, right? So if I live somewhere colder, bro, and the air cold, I'm breathing it in, my nose might be a little bit more narrow and straight. Whereas if you live in a hot climate where you could just breathe air in luxuriously, you're gonna have wider nostrils like we have. You know what I'm saying? So when you look at the phenotypical changes because of climate adaptation, you know what I mean? That's how we really get it changed. That's the only thing that sets that's the only thing that can set us apart is phenotypical.
That's wrong.
Phenotypical.
That's
When
Nah,
they go
but
look at
I'm talking about the genetic changes though. Y'all keep focusing on
but that's genetic
the
mutation.
Well,
phenotypical changes.
that's what drives the genetic change. And these a lot of these haplogroups didn't migrate into different climates. Saudi Arabia and the Levant have an African climate. They have the same type of
Everything to do
climate,
with that.
same type of animals,
Yeah,
same type of plants, same diet. So there would have been nothing in the Levant or Saudi Arabia to make a Icarian African change into a Eurasian.
yeah. In fact, I got something to say on that.
All right, so hold on.
When
Let
the
me respond. Let
Mexicans,
me respond, man. Let me
go
respond.
ahead,
Y'all
do your
trying to
thing, bro.
dominate with Y'all trying to dominate with pseudo stuff, bro. Again, y'all not applying genetic differentiation to genetic drift. These clades spit out. You get new SNPs on your Y chromosome. That is brand new. Where did they develop? Outside of the continent. What was the autosomes that they acquired? All of it is Eurasian. What is North African DNA itself? A byproduct of Eurasians. I brought all that
Okay,
out in my
you
rap.
just put yourself. If it's a basal African gene, and you just said that the only thing that changed this Y chromosome was outside of Africa, what changed it? Adaptation to what? The climate change. So you just
Yeah,
killed yourself to
no,
show
these
why.
haplogroups.
This
I
is
didn't
why
say
this is
these
why the African
haplogroups.
gene. This is why
God,
the African
Right.
gene. This is why the
These
Africans
Y
have
DNA
the 9
haplogroups
DNA
predate
series.
all others in those areas.
This is so stupid. Anyway, like I was saying, y'all not accounting for differentiation. You're just saying, oh, EM78 has an origin in Northeast Africa. Okay, let's talk about the rest of the genome. It's downstream clades and the autosome. That's the nuclear DNA at the population level. So when we looked at that old kingdom sample, 90% of his DNA was Levantine. The rest was coming from the Iranian, Capitolithic, and the Transcaucasian. Hold on, stop. The Transcaucasian region. That's non-African DNA.
Most of the Levantine genome is African, though, bro.
I'm just making shit up, bro.
No, I'm not.
All right, so here's
the
the thing, bro.
Levantine genome is African, bro. It's like
You just keep saying Africa. Again,
the Africans.
That's like saying we all start in Africa.
Jashub,
and there's no differentiation. No, you're wrong. You're wrong. Empirically,
not the first place populated by Africans.
Was the Levant has nothing to do with that. Genetic gene frequencies change.
No question.
Genetics change.
I'm
about to explain it to you. It ain't a yes or no question. That's the problem. You oversimplifying shit.
No, I'm not.
It's not a yes or no question.
Yes,
Eurasians split off from a main out of Africa population that leave. These genes change and become unique and distinct, known as Eurasian genetically.
Oh. Hey, Reuben, this is about to kill him, right? So you do know that when the Natufians first dispersed out of Africa, because you do know that they come from the Horn of Africa, right? So you know when they dispersed out of the Horn of Africa and went into the Levant region that they left out E1B1A, they did not come E1B1B until they mixed with Hittites, and that's why they're the fathers of all these people that are in the Levant. The Hittites and the Anatolians and the Shashus and and you also have the Indo-Europeans. And so the intermixture from all those people in the Levant is showing you if the Natufians are still the father of the race, the progenitor of the race, which means that the concrete gene comes from Africa. Because it started out as
no, Natufians are not E1B1A. Natufians,
they're not. I agree with you on that.
They were E1B1A. And if they go to the Levant, hold on, let me respond to what
they are E1B1B. They're not E1B1A.
Okay, cool. So let me respond to what he was saying.
So they started off E1B1A, but because of the mixture,
they did not start off E1B1A. They were not E1B1A.
Yeah, because E1B1A migrates into West Africa, Central and West Africa. E1B1B went north up the Nile corridor and out of Africa.
But yeah, this is the thing though. When you look at the dispersion, if you look at the dispersion, Reuben, if you look at dispersion, bro, it tells you that the E1B1A and the E1B1B are brothers. They both come from the Horn of Africa. They dispersed. Now, when you get the dispersal, you got the Natufians that dispersed in the region that even create the E1B1B, which is still in the Horn of Africa.
Yeah, they all brother. That would be sibling clades E1B1A and E1B1B, but they both split off in East Africa. So I don't know how he's trying to make them Eurasian and suggesting that the entire population carrying EM35 and EM78 migrated out of Africa when that is a fallacy, to say the least.
So what's the original Eurasian haplogroup?
Hold on, no, it don't work like that.
A basal African gene.
No, oh my God, this is pseudo as hell. All right, let me answer something you said earlier about them being in the Levant. If they went to the Levant, stayed there for thousands of years in the late Paleolithic period onward, then what was their autosomal admixture, which is the DNA that reflects on the population? Majority of it. Matter of fact, all of it is non-African.
No, all of it is not.
Yes, it is. They're not.
It's like 30. Don't quote me exactly, but I think it's like around 30% of the Natufian or the basal Eurasian genome is indeed African, Jashub.
No, it's not.
And it's like the Natufian haplogroups, these E subclades that went into the Levant predate all others. So who were they mixing with besides themselves until the Neolithic people came in?
How the hell men gonna mix with themselves? Listen to what you just said.
Hey, Reuben, here goes two killer points, man.
It's a lot of
Hey,
stuff.
Reuben, bro,
I
here go
didn't
the
say they were.
If
I
they're
never said they
mixing,
were mixing with men.
no. Hold on. I can pull up the
I never
Natufian
said they
DNA
were
right
mixing
now.
with
Hold on,
men.
stop, y'all. Let me respond to what
Hey,
he's
just
saying.
shoot
Y'all trying
though.
to dog
Hold
pile.
on, just shoot.
So
You
let
didn't
niggas
kill
talk.
me the whole night. Every time I got ready to talk, I had to be
It's
quiet.
like you have
I just say
diarrhea
this
of the
one thing,
mouth.
fam.
Can't nobody hear nothing. No, y'all.
But look though, just shoot. Here go the killer for. Here go the killer part, fam. Everybody knows that the Natufians are the fathers of the J1 DNA. They the eDNA, but they created the J1 DNA. How did they create them? From the inner mixture.
J markers are older than the Natufian population. What you just said is
Man, you
impossible.
crazy, bro. You crazy. Right. So they older than the signs and the and the Bushmans.
He would kind of be right because the J markers are like what 30 to 40,000 years old, something like that, up in that area.
Yeah, but and they come from
they're about 20 to 30,000 years old, and their origin starts in the Caucasian region.
Right, it starts in the Eurasian steppes. That's where they come from. That's where they were trapped until after the last glacial maximum, Jashub. That's the part you're missing.
Well, that would mean if that's the case, what you just said, which they weren't. But let's just go with your scenario. That would mean their presence in ancient Egypt breaks the African continuity argument because those people come from the steppes, like you just said.
How would it break the African continuity argument when the same clays that emerged in Africa 20, 30, 40, 58,000 years ago is found in the New Kingdom, the Roman period, and the first millennium BC mummies?
No, they're not. What you did was say, hey, this old clay EM.
That sounds like genetic continuity to me.
It's not genetic.
Wait,
continuity.
so Reuben,
let me respond to that last part.
Allowing nobody to talk. He said what the hell he was going to
check this out.
This is the fourth round of the debate.
No, ain't no fourth round.
Right. I'm like, damn, I thought that they was done debating, right? Nobody can come up here and talk because you two want to talk over everybody and keep debating each other.
They still got smoke. Go ahead, Yashub. Then we go hear from Honey.
So, like I was saying, EM78 is the basal haplogroup. What about the downstream clades? Them downstream clades from EM35 and EM34 are the Eurasians that we're talking about in the ancient Egyptian population. I showed in my debate. Matter of fact, let me share my screen, man. This is bullshit.
How you saying that EM35 is a downstream clade of EM78 when EM78 emerged from EM35?
That's what that means. Downstream means downstream from what? EM35.
So wouldn't that mean that EM78 is a downstream clade of EM35 and not the other way around?
I said that.
That's not what you said.
That is what I said.
You said EM35 right, so is a downstream clade of EM78. Oh, that's what you said.
You brought this paper up, right? Hold on, let me show it. North African components. But I did see you bring this paper up. Find it. And you mentioned that, it had E1B1B. Okay. What clay did E1B1B and where was it? It's going to take me a minute, y'all. Let me go out of presenter mode real quick. And find it.
While you find it, can I just ask a quick?
I got it.
God.
Look, where does it say the origin of that clay that was found in ancient Egypt? It originates in fucking Turkey. So you keep talking about the macro haplogroup. You got to consider the downstream clades, which y'all never do. E1B1. EBY6800 is the clade that was found in that Kurchatov paper that you brought up. It comes from Turkey.
Brother,
if I grab my notebook, bro, you go die with the dumbass shit.
Because the clay from Kurchatov.
That was the dumbest shit you could have brought out.
Hold up, y'all. He just made another mistake. Because the clay from Kurchatov, hold up. The clay from Kurchatov is EM180. I'm about to share my screen and show you. Are you telling me
no,
that African
it's not? You were wrong about that.
Are you? Yes. Are you telling me?
God.
You were wrong.
Are you telling me that
EBY6800?
No, it's not.
Yes, it is. I can demonstrate that to you live. Look, here's the paper right here. This is what it says about the E1B1A, 1B2A4, B5A. Everybody watching, type this into your computer. It's going to be EBY6800. That's the clade. this clade is telling you that these people show a deep genetic relationship between ancient Egyptians and the people of the Near East.
Of course, because the people
because
migrated.
E1B clades differentiate
Of
outside
course,
the
they will
continent.
have genetic affinity, bro. When the E clades populated the Levant and the Near East, of
course. That's my point,
nigga. They originated from Africa, so
So
of course.
hold on, Reuben. I think where y'all. So how are y'all defining continuity? Because look, because
bro,
no, Reuben is trying to make everybody fucking motherfucking Egypt. Like, God damn. Everything we know, everything came from fucking Africa. Of course you can trace everything back to Africa. That's why y'all put a time frame on this shit. God damn. Can y'all stop debating?
Honey, burn that straw man. Set that straw man on fire, honey.
Can y'all
wait, man.
Set that straw man on fire.
About what are you talking about?
Hold on real quick.
I didn't bring up turkey.
You already did the debate.
Burn that straw man, honey.
Hold
Burn that straw man.
What the fuck you talking about, nigga?
Go smoke a blunt, honey. Go smoke a blunt.
No, nigga, smoke that shit you been.
Everybody hold up. Everybody relax. Reuben, hold up. Relax. Let her get it out, and then you can respond to it. Let her get it out. Go ahead, honey.
These niggas trying to motherfucking debate after the debate over. We heard what the fuck you niggas had to say. We don't care anymore. It's done now. If you didn't get it out, then maybe you should goddamn do your presentation better. That's one. Two, everybody is not goddamn African. Okay, we know everything came from, walked up out of Africa. That's the out of Africa theory. Okay, we know this shit mutated outside of it and came back in. We know this. To keep acting like, well, the stuff that came back in would technically be called African because at some point in time in their ancestry, they came from Africa. It's retarded. Y'all, you're a pseudo. Please stop. Because if I have to hear Africanoid again or Africoid, I'm going to motherfucking die. Please learn what the fuck the words actually are today and stop.
Hey fam, if you don't know nothing about haplogroups and shit like that, though, of course you gonna be lost.
You said
you know what I'm
that
saying?
Every single
Like the niggas is out here talking though, niggas understand haplogroups.
And that's what the Reuben said, Negro features. Wouldn't Negro features be every single phenotype? Since that's what you said African is. Make up your mind on what the fuck it is you want to even say that pseudo. Y'all don't.
Hey, can the information win? Can it go out though, bro? Cause look, man, this is a fact I'm about to say.
But look, I agree with 100.
Hold on, fam. Hold on. Fuck all that. I just listen to everybody, bro.
No,
this the fact I was gonna say, bro. Dumb shit is this, bro. We the E family, bro. So by default, nigga, I don't give a fuck about the clothes or nothing, nigga. Reuben just beat this nigga ass, bro. And listen to the nigga admitted that he lost.
African and watch you die.
No, because the debate is on content. Listen, y'all.
Hold up, let me go. I muted out through you and honey.
I didn't get to say what my point was
yet. She's trying to say that we're saying everybody is African. No, I'm not saying everybody is African. What I am saying, though, that indigenous Egyptians are Africans, period, point blank, in the discussion.
But so the debate was over continuity, right? So that's why I'm saying y'all have to define because you're saying just because they have they originated in Africa, that means that they are indeed Africans after the fact. If they left out and came back in, and I'm saying that's not how continuity works, right? If they went and they had admixture, if they went and they had admixture and they got other DNA and all this stuff, right? When they come back, they wouldn't be the same as they were when they left out.
By
you see what I'm saying?
Logic, though, Hemi, we are not African by that same logic.
Hey, but look, though,
it doesn't work.
I want to say this, Reuben, my bad, bro.
Different. Hold on.
Hey, hold on, bro. Hold on. Let me just say this. Hey, Hemi, I want to say this to you, though, bro. So you can get this, so you can get where we coming from, right, Hemi? So Hemi dig. We the E family, right? So if the E family was in Egypt and was in damn the Levant, then how is this nigga now trying to say, hey, these people weren't African? And he just said that the E family ruled there. Listen to what this nigga's saying, bro. He's telling you he don't know what the fuck he talking about. That's why nigga Reuben win this debate. I don't give a fuck about polls because niggas
Y'all never
don't
care about
understand
judgment.
shit, bro.
Y'all never care about judgment.
We are the goddamn family.
That's what suits do. They
Bro, you know you lost this debate.
Yeah,
too,
okay,
nigga.
whatever.
You
So all the downstream clades. Hold on.
Bro.
Again, I just showed him in the Kirchhoff
Hey, your pseudo ass.
All right, hold
down,
on, y'all.
bro,
Y'all,
you
let him
just
get it out. Let
admitted
him get it
that
out,
the
y'all.
family was there. But I just want to say that last part, his pseudo ass lose, bro, because he admitted that the E family, and when we go back and watch it, he admitted that the E family was not just there, but was in the Levant. So he killed his whole self.
Jashub.
You just need to debate me on this Asian shit you was talking about. The genetic ancestry of the East Asians. Let's debate that, bro. Let's debate it. When you want to do this?
Oh man, I'm
But
finna get
we
up out of
already
here,
made that
y'all.
clear. Hey, we
Good
made
show,
that
bro.
clear, bro. I ain't got look, bro. I ain't never
finish
ran on this
MVP.
motherfucker. I ain't never ducked my tail, bro. I'm with everything, bro. With whoever. So you know what I'm saying? You already know what it is. But look, bro, you lose, bro. You admit it. Yeah, the E family runs Egypt in the Levant at them times. Nigga, we are the E family. So you just admitted
Doesn't
that was
work that way.
Negro, silly.
What y'all try to do is split
It
people.
does work
You
that
try
way.
to split people's
Bro, this nigga
DNA
is crazy,
in
bro.
isolation.
This nigga admitted
You have
y'all, bro.
mitochondrial
That's
DNA.
why I said when niggas don't know about haplogroups.
Let him get it out.
You have mitochondrial DNA, Y DNA, you have nuclear DNA. That's all of your DNA. You're not considering all of it because you don't give a fuck about it. Oh, we just the E family. They're different people. They're not the same as you. You're not no damn ancient Egyptian. These people have majority of their DNA pointing towards Eurasian population. Your DNA, on the other hand, is most akin to sub-Saharan African people in Western Europe.
But what you're saying, Jashub, what you're saying is based on one study at one site
No, it's
in
not. I
Lower
provided
Egypt.
several studies.
Jashub.
I provided several studies, not one study.
What study did you
provide?
provide?
I provided
What
several
study
studies.
did you provide from Upper Egypt? What study did you provide from Upper Egypt,
Niggas don't be
Jashub?
watching.
What
I'm
study
about
did you
to tell you.
provide
Just stop talking.
from Upper Egypt?
I'm about to tell you. The Jehudi Knock paper, that's one, and the H4A1 paper. Both of those papers talk about Upper Egypt, which is Southern Egypt, having Eurasian DNA that dates back to prehistory. That was literally in my debate.
That's false because
all right, it's false. I'm gonna put it back on the screen.
Eurasian DNA. It was in my presentation. Eurasian DNA only entered the Horn of Africa 3,000 years ago, buddy.
But look, though,
hold on, ain't no look though. Share my screen.
But this is the thing.
Look though, bro.
It started off as the basal. It starts off as the basal African gene. You know what I'm saying, bro? It's the basal African gene, the Eurasian gene is. So you know, even if he said that they left out and came back, he's still proving that when they left, the Africans that was there was already they was there first. They had to be the first people because these people had think about it genetically. They had to evolve into something else.
This is so damn dumb
to even come back.
What does it say right here? H4A1.
Man, you pulling up a lot of pseudo shit, bro.
Yeah, this is a scientific damn paper. H4A1 haplogroup existing in mitochondrial DNA, thus creating a baseline of future occurrences of this haplogroup in ancient Egyptian remains. Second, it is of great importance for archaeological science since a predominantly European haplogroup has been identified in an Egyptian individual in southern Egypt. I literally read this shit. Literally read it during my round. There's another one. Oh, I got another one for you. Same shit.
Bro, we know this not talking about Upper Egypt. Go back. Go back.
It is. It's southern Egypt. That's Upper Egypt.
Listen. Hold up. Mute out.
Ain't no mute out.
It's a Egyptian individual in southern Egypt.
And prior to the Roman and Greek influx.
Prior to the Roman and the Greek influx. Right. When did the Romans and Greeks influx Upper Egypt, Jashub?
This nigga stupid.
When did the Romans and Greeks
do with that? It says
when,
before.
Yes, it does.
No, it don't. It says before, you dumbass.
I asked you specifically about Upper Egypt. Why are they talking about Roman and Greek influx in the Upper Egypt
when that shit never happened? Roman and Greek influx. It's saying this DNA exists before the Romans. You fucking idiot.
Right. Why would they even mention the Romans in relation to Upper Egypt?
Because
why would they mention
they're showing that Eurasian DNA was in southern Egypt before the Romans
and Greeks in relation to Upper Egypt, Jashub, when they were never there.
This nigga dumb. This nigga dumb.
Hey, bro, this is hey, Reuben, this is why he died, bro, because the Romans wasn't even a goddamn nation at that time, bro. They ain't rise up to the Romans.
The point is,
talking about 8 BC.
The point is,
okay, so if your article is
in southern Egypt before the Romans,
time at 8 BC and 5 BCE, like your ass like to cut everybody off, but if your article is mentioning Romans, we're talking about at the time that they had to be established. So we're talking about
all right.
BCE.
Ignore the rest of the shit on the page,
brother.
That's that silky shit, man.
Bro, like I said, so what it shows you, this is Ptolemy influence.
No, it's not. It's not saying that. It's saying before that, you dumbass.
Man,
how the fuck is gonna be Ptolemy?
Why is it mentioned? Why is the damn Roman? Why is Rome established as a nation, bro?
It has nothing to do with why Rome was established as a nation. It's telling you before the goddamn Greeks and Romans, it was in southern Egypt.
Okay, but look, we talking about ancient Egypt, right?
Yes.
So remember, when we bringing up ancient Egypt, we shouldn't even be talking about no goddamn Greeks or no Romans. Because in ancient Egypt, when ancient Egypt was going on, it wasn't no goddamn Greeks. Well, it was Greeks, but it wasn't no Romans.
Right. I mean,
okay, so this is before the Romans.
Studies are all based on periods where Egypt had already been invaded by people from Eurasia. It's like I don't know what part of that he not.
That destroys your argument because the debate is genetic continuity from the Stone Age to the dynastic period. This is the dynastic period.
It doesn't destroy my argument.
Yes, it does. Because this is the dynastic period.
The indigenous
Reuben, this is the dynastic period.
Indigenous population was
this is the dynastic period. I'm showing you the indigenous population. The indigenous population has Eurasian haplogroup and autotone.
Egypt has never.
Well, y'all just ignore shit because you know you pseudo.
All right, hold on real quick.
Has never experienced.
Niggas pseudo as hell, man.
Hold on real quick. Uncle Harold.
To say that it was replaced.
You pseudo as hell.
Hold on, y'all relax. Uncle Harold, you there?
Yes, sir.
Peace to you, Uncle Harold. Everything going?
All right, everything's going well. Hello to the panel. Hello to everybody sitting here back listening, chilling.
You got the flow, Uncle Harold. How you felt about the debate?
I just tuned in.
Well, how you felt about this discussion?
I just tuned in. I'm still listening. Come back to me later.
Shit, it ain't gonna be no goddamn later. But all right, shit, y'all. Hey, how we looking at on the time? Lucifer and King. Let me say the poll real quick. The poll is 66. The poll is 66-34. The poll is 66-34. Lucifer and King, how y'all looking on time?
I'm good.
I gotta go to bed, man. I gotta go to work in the morning. So I'm about to get out of here.
Oh, still.
Well, you already went to sleep in the debate earlier for all that lying pseudo shit. You been asleep.
Sure. Hey,
man,
we're gonna be debating on that. No, we're gonna debate. No, you and I are going to debate the ancient DNA ancestry of China. That's what we're gonna do.
Hold on, we gotta put more speculations with that. I told you the origins of the people that was there.
All right, so the origin of the people of ancient China. How about that?
All right,
the ancestral origin of the people of ancient China.
Okay, I got that lesson already written down. Let's do it, man, because you're gonna fall on your face.
All right. So when can you do it? When are you available?
Hey, you lost tonight. I don't give a fuck what they post say. You know you cool people.
I know y'all don't care about judgment. Y'all don't care about
what they post say.
But I was told. Hold on. Hey, check this out, bro. I was told let the people decide. So when the people decide I win, it's a problem.
People don't understand how.
But guess what? If they would have said Reuben won. Hey, Reuben, let me say this, please. Reuben, please, before I got here, let me say this to you. If the people said you won, Reuben, I will say congratulations, Reuben, you won.
Well, look, if the polls close and you're winning, I'm gonna tell you now before you leave. Congratulations. It was a good debate.
All right, same here, brother. Same here. And I'm looking forward to Yaratazaka, man. I'm looking forward to put this belt on your ass, nigga.
Hey, it's cool, man. You gonna get beat up like you got beat up tonight, bro. Look,
I'm
bro,
gonna beat the
that's
shit out of you,
bro.
bro, because you just agitated the fuck out of me
Look,
tonight, bro.
I know you got your ass whooped tonight too. I ain't gonna lie, bro. Whooped your ass, and I'm gonna tell you, you admitted you got your ass whooped. If they go back and play this debate, you said the
Okay,
E family is ruling Egypt, and the E family is ruling the Levant. You said that out your mouth, and then turn back around and said the ancient Egyptians are not Africans. I said, man, what type of shit is this nigga on?
All right, yeah. You just show up for your debate so I can beat that ass.
That's contradictory. He contradicted himself.
Shoot. Okay,
you know
cool.
What I'm saying? And
all right, y'all. Good night. I'm out, y'all.
Peace,
All right,
bro.
Jashub, appreciate you, bro.
And why these E haplogroups being found in first millennium BC mummies, that's genetic continuity from whenever it emerged in Africa till that point. And not only that, it's still found in the modern populations of Egypt. So I don't know how that's not genetic continuity.
Man, bro, he wasn't trying to look at the facts, bro. When you go back and watch his debate, bro, he really told everybody he lost, bro. If you go back and listen to him, bro, it was like probably 5 or 10 minutes ago. He said that you was talking to him, and he said the E family was the people that are indigenous in the Levant and Egypt. What he was trying to prove something else, but he said the E family are the people that are there, and then turned back around and said the ancient Egyptians are not Africans, that they are Eurasians, or no, he said they were another race. So I'm just listening. I listen well, so I'm listening to him. I'm like, bro, you killing yourself. You said they was E. The E family we all know, bro. Horn of Africa, some dispersed down into the Congolese. We know what the E family, who the E family is, man.
Right.
Though I feel,
and see, like I brought out in my demonstration, EM78 not only migrated out into the Levant and migrated south into South Africa. It migrated all the way down to South Africa. This is how you get the EV 1515 subclade, which diversified in sub-equatorial Africa. Is associated with pastoralism. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I don't know how he's trying to make these haplogroups Eurasian when they left out of Africa and came back. That's like saying we left out of Africa and came to America, but now we're not African no more because we intermixed with the people here. Nobody says that shit.
Yeah, because we still, even though we had intermixtures and genetic mutations, we still were the haplogroup that our ancestors came with. And we know we got the E1, B1A, or the E gene that come from out of Africa. Some even got the old types.
That's exactly why I focused on Y DNA, because we're talking about the Pharoanic period, the pharaohs, Y DNA. This is what links people of today back to those people of then. You know what I'm saying? It'll be Y DNA that'll link these people back to these pharaohs. You know what I'm saying? That's what they're going to use.
And it's just crazy, man, because bro is not trying to look at none of the facts. Like when you really do your study, you'll find out that even them Asians, they were Africoids. You know, like I'm gonna bring it out and prove it to him, and then whatever he want to debate about these Asians or Chinese, whatever he want to do. But you know, you can look at the dynasty, the Shear dynasty, where the Egyptians set them up over there. A lot of people don't know. We was everywhere. They were setting up everything. So you know. But yeah, the brother seemed like he in a European state of mind though.
Yeah, man. We definitely go set that shit up. Hey, Reuben, appreciate you for coming through. You know what I'm saying? Hey, just to give you, you know what I'm saying, some constructive criticism. Let this be your last debate where you doing the pre-recording thing. I need your ass screen sharing, you showing the people who you is, and you changing your tone up and down depending on the tempo. You know what I'm saying? Like
I got you. Look, I'm gonna tell you what. My laptop was in the shop, right? So I did the presentation on the phone. That's why I was doing videos. So I got the laptop out yesterday. That's how I'm able to share share screen. But I do PowerPoint. But it's like, even if it's a pre-recorded PowerPoint, now I get what the change in tone and the inflection and all of that type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? But it's still the same information at the end of the day.
And then the on point rebutting, you know what I'm saying? Like the on point rebutting, the jab ad hominems, like jab ad hominems, you know, just a live action. That's a big difference maker in the pose and the debate.
You want to hit hard alive, bitch. Hear me?
Right.
Hey, but two people that came on, watched both of the debates, man, they said both of y'all gave both of y'all a tie. And he wanted to hear live judges. Live judges said it was a tie, and the poll said he won. You know what I'm saying? So how I look at it, man, it y'all can call it a win or a loser. You know what I'm saying, for y'all ego, but I feel like the people learn. You know what I'm saying, and this debate gonna fuel what we're gonna be talking about for the rest of the year. You know what I'm saying? We making motherfuckers pick a side, and that's just how it going. You know what I'm saying? You either with it or you ain't. You gonna pick a side though.
Ain't no way. Hey Wave, I did give Reuben my you know, I gave him my vote, bro. And I know I said I ain't watched all of it, but bro, it just the information I heard him bringing out when I did hear the little bit he brought out, and I've been in the same groups they in, so I see what they be, you know, I know what they do, just debate about it and all that. And I study the same thing, bro. And I'm gonna tell you, going into this debate, I already knew Reuben was gonna win because of the whole contradictory scheme of him saying that everybody coming out of Africa, but the first Egyptians, the first pharaohs got to be non-African now. You know, that's a whole contradiction, bro.
Because they traversed through Egypt to get out of Africa, and that's why I asked him. That's why I asked him that question, and he danced all around it. All these migrations, these genetic migrations, talk about the movement of entire populations. It's not. It is not talk about the movement of entire populations. You know what I'm saying?
Why I say
that's how
poll,
you have. Go ahead.
Most people vote, they be voting for people because they friends or in the same group or something like that, bro. You know, just being all the way 100, I'm looking at the standpoint of the debate, you know, over everything. And I know what he's saying to pseudo. They don't understand haplo groups. You know, they don't probably even study none of that type of stuff. I heard him say, what changes this? So it's like, if you don't know none of that shit that he asks, I mean, not just using him, but if you don't really know none of that shit, and like what Honey was saying, if you not educated on that shit, you gonna think like Honey. You gonna think, what does that matter? We all ain't African. You gonna think some bullshit, but it's like, how can people if people like that judging the debate, bro? Of course they're gonna give it to Jashub, because all you gotta do is say some pseudo shit.
Yeah, and it's like the only thing that makes these the early Levantine populations non-Africa is proximity. You know what I'm saying? Especially the ones who returned back into Africa. You know what I'm saying? It was a back migration into Africa right after they exited Africa 70,000 years ago. At this time, there were no Eurasians. There were no Eurasians. You know what I'm saying? They come off of the migration out of Africa, not before the migration out of Africa. They come off of that line.
Exactly. And then another thing, when I heard you say too, you know, even when you look at it, the Neolithic period, bro, like the Negroes are the possessors of the Neolithic period. And if you even look into the times who possessed the Levantine, it was Negroes at that time. So it's like that kills him alone. If we add up all the facts, bro, we can throw goddamn fastballs, curveballs. He's not gonna see shit coming because he's not looking at the facts.
Yeah, bro, let me tell you, it's like after I finalized my presentation, the next day, bro, a study came out placing that SLC24A5 mutation that's found in both of the haplogroup and the haplogroup C telling y'all J1 and R1B at 3,000 years ago. The spread of this mutation, which accounts for pale skinned Europeans, is only 3,000 years ago.
Hey, I'm gonna give y'all boys a tie. You know what I'm saying? I feel like it need to be around 2 on the cleaner topic. I'm gonna give y'all boys a top, man. I feel like what neutralized Reuben is him not being live. And I feel like Yashub, man, we about to get into some of them sources, gang. God damn, we got to dig, we about to do
Right.
something on them sources the next couple of
Right.
weeks, Yashub.
Because look, he wasn't even about to tell y'all about E1B1A. I mean E1B1B being found in that Schumann et al. 2017 study. And it's like, bruh, scholars from diverse disciplines came out and criticized this study. It's still being criticized as recent as 2024. The last study that came out on it, I didn't get a chance to read through it, was from 2024. It's still being critiqued. Even one of the studies he brought up critiques that study that I think is Henneman et al. 2023. It criticizes that 2017 study that he was using.
Hey, man, the line has been crossed. Your ass gonna get on the pseudo side, or you gonna get on the knowledgeable side. The line it's a line in the sand, nigga. You going with modern academics, or you going with your ancestors, nigga. The line is drawn, nigga. Which way your ass going to?
Hey, this one here gonna be talked about though, you know what I'm saying? Because the people that watch it, that's why I did it, Wade, because when it go out to the audience and the people watch it, you know what I'm saying? You already know you're gonna get feedback on that shit. Because he's trying to make African haplogroups Eurasian, which is a fallacy. That's that's a genetic fallacy.
Hey, 227 people watched, and only 45 people voted. You know what I'm saying? So it's definitely this debate right here gonna be the talk of the community for the next couple of weeks.
You can't leave the poll up longer.
Say it again.
And say, bro, and you know what? I can't take nothing from him because he showed up. He had a good performance. You know what I'm saying? He showed up and he had a good performance. I actually enjoyed this debate. You know what I'm saying? He was fiery. And, you know, it is what it is. But I know this is going to be talked about because he ain't going to be able to beat those timelines of those haplogroups in Egypt. He's trying to tell y'all EM78 is Eurasian when it had to pass up the Fayum complex to get to the Levant. it emerged west of the Fayum complex and had to cross the Fayum complex to get to the Levant.
Then he's speaking about the Anatolians. He's speaking about the Anatolians to get out of Africa. They had to take the Silk Road. So it's just showing you how everybody he talked about had to take the road to get out of Africa.
Honey want to come up here and crash out again, man. I'm gonna let her come up here and crash out.
Man, that's sis. We don't always agree and they get heated at time, but that's still sis at the end of the day. I ain't got no problem with that.
Polls should be done at the end of the broadcast. In all fairness, yeah, I'm gonna take it down in 3 minutes. Y'all gonna put your vote in. I'm gonna take it down in 3 minutes, and whoever want to pop on, y'all pop on. I'm surprised I ain't hear from This how I know this show gonna be reviewed everywhere because the main motherfuckers holding in their opinion.
Right.
Say, nah, we go get their ass next. We gonna get their ass Tuesday. Oh no, we gonna get their ass Thursday. Whenever y'all go live once a week. Hey man, powerful bills only, man. We go live at least 3 times a week. You know what I'm talking about? You're gonna see a nigga, you know what I'm saying, Modi, you see a paycheck, you know what I'm saying? We're gonna be in your goddamn face with it. Yeah, what's the name of your debate with Yashub, you said?
We got to put a little more emphasis on it, but the origins of the Chinese, he want to basically prove that they are not Africoid people.
Y'all need to have a discussion. Y'all need to have a discussion.
Yeah, so we can build on it.
Hey, he gonna have a problem with Professor Jen Lee, bro. Professor Jen Lee, who is a Chinese geneticist, found that their ancestry is African. He was trying to prove that they emerged independently as Chinese because he always felt there was something special about Chinese. But when he did the DNA study on the Chinese, he found out that they descend from Africans. This is what Professor Jin Lee said, the Chinese geneticist.
Well, yeah, and look, this is another dude named Chang Kassin Lang of the Les Nigeritos de la Chene in 1923 wrote Dr. Renuko Rashidi, The African Story of Asia, The Black Presence in the East. You know what I mean? It's you can look that up. It's some tremendous proofs. I got more information.
All right, hold on real quick. Hey, all hell about to break loose. President, man, give us your opinion on this debate.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I was. You right on spot. We was waiting, man. So I'm gonna go ahead and drop the real deal. My critique from what I saw, and I did watch every bit of it. I didn't miss nothing. And from what I saw sources from '98, sources from '01, '02, very, very out of date sources. And on his end, both ends out of date sources. On his end, a lot of non-verifiable sources, then sources that were just completely different, like on an offset tip to try to say you got a source, but it really wasn't even like proving what you're saying. And then also what I feel exactly what Misery said spot on. A lot of those sources y'all were reading were saying supposedly or and things like that, like they're giving their opinion, so they're not solid at all. Plus, when you're talking about haplogroups and things like that, you're going off the samples that they're taking from the people that they got. So it's not like they're just collecting the whole database of DNA type stuff. They're still building that.
So President, who would you give your vote to?
Who would I give my vote to?
I said it was the top. Who would you give your vote to?
I feel like Gullo on that one because it was a whole bunch of it wasn't nobody really proving nothing hardcore. It was a whole bunch of alleged, supposedly, what I'm saying, when like they was pulling from novel, like, what I'm saying, like science, like it's books, but it's not a science source. You know what I'm saying? That's a guy trying to sell a book. You know what I'm saying? So we're using a little bit of science in a novel, and they're trying to use that as a source, and that's not a science source. You know what I'm saying? You can't pull books that what I'm saying. Pull the science source. We want to see the scientific fact. You know what I'm saying? I want to see the study. Don't pull out a summary of somebody talking about a little book they trying to sell. And I don't want to see no out of date sources and then fraudulent sources. You can't check. I need to check. I want to see the real source, man. I don't want to see no more doctored up pages. Period. I need to see the whole source. I want to see the date. I want to see all that. Don't show me no more. I don't want to see none of y'all little pretty little presentations with none of your little colors. I don't want to see none of that. I want to see a real source. Period. I don't want to see. Then I want to see an up to date source on top of that.
Hold on, y'all. Hold on, y'all. All right, Zion.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I'm good, man. That's all I had to say,
you
man.
can't make a nice presentation. Listen, in education,
my favorite roster. What's happening?
Well, I gave you my voice, but I only came in on the Q&A, and you lawyered that shit, bro. I'm like, get this man an ESQ on it. Yeah, that was immaculate lawyering. That cross-examination was straight fire. You know what I'm saying? And one of the points that you have brought out, you know what I'm saying, that even though you see some of those E subclades in Eurasia in certain areas, it doesn't necessarily mean that those gene pools are not of African origin.
Right.
That's what really, to me, when y'all was arguing toward the end, kind of gave me a look, because now what you're basically saying is, you know what I'm saying, like, just because there was some migrations upwards and then back migrations, that somehow that those genetic variations in those areas, not those people are no longer African.
I show facts in my presentation, bro. Don't try me, nigga.
Right,
bro,
right.
you don't want
Some of you niggas don't never.
you really don't want no
Silk,
smoke with me, bro. You're
Silk,
goofy.
Silk.
But
When
anyway,
nobody talking to you. When nobody talking to you. Go ahead.
yeah,
Reuben.
I'm over here trying to chop it up with Reuben. But you know what? A lot of people coming for my head because you know what I'm saying I'm the smushinator.
Nah, you good, Zion.
Yeah.
Zion, you good.
They've been
Go
coming
ahead,
for my
Reuben.
head for a
Answer
long
this
time,
question.
brother. It's all right. They don't want that work. But
Go ahead, Reuben. Answer this question.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that was exactly my point. You know what I'm saying? Showing that the African E haplogroups not only have continuity in Egypt, they also have continuity in the Near East, Levant, and Arabian Peninsula. So he can't get around that.
It's like trying to say, okay, so because there was some back migrations and some you listen, in Africa, there is so much genetic diversity that is ridiculous, right? But you're not going to be able to, so you can't say that just because you know you can actually say that two different genetic African Africoid types are totally different from each other, like an Irish person is different from an Asian person. However, you know what I'm saying? That doesn't mean that they're not African, right? So some African gene pools go up into the Levantine and into Eurasia, and this is even before, like you said, the Uranthropoid was even there, right? Even before those folks were there, then come back down, and there's a mutation. Does that make them European? Oh, that doesn't make them African. I absolutely disagree with what Jashub said there.
Right,
sir.
And then not only that, it's like he said out his own mouth that African ancestry is only defined as sub-Saharan African ancestry. That's what he said.
But see, that's crazy because if you actually look at even Northeast Africa, if you go to Sudan is primarily J haplo, and Ethiopia is J haplo. But you know what I'm saying? Most of the regions that are inhabitable are sub-Saharan. That's why he actually offered this debate to me, and when I brought that up, he never responded. Never responded. I said, well, technically, you know, Ethiopia and parts of Sudan are sub-Saharan, and those are J haplos. So what do you mean sub-Saharan? Didn't want he brought it to you, and you guys debated it, and I think you did an amazing job, brother. You know what I'm saying?
I appreciate it, bro.
Yeah, he has great points and stuff like that. And sometimes you can throw an amalgamation of academic sources together. You know what I'm saying? I think Silky, you know, it is an academic or scholastic source, whether it's a primary, secondary, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Say that. But I think, you know what I'm saying, like you had a lot of really good sources. From your argument from what I saw, and then what y'all were arguing after the fact, and some of the sources that you brought up after the fact, I thought, you know what I'm saying, I was leaning towards your side only because, and everybody talk about, oh, Zion's a Naga hater. I don't hate nobody, yo. Just bring the information, bro.
Right.
You know,
man, we done had our stance, bro, but you know, it died right there. You know what I'm saying? We been cool.
Right. You know what I'm saying? Jashub is, you know what I'm saying, good brother. You know what I'm saying? We banged out a couple of times, you know what I'm saying? He won a debate against me. It's all good, you know what I mean? But yeah, you know, with that whole thing. Now, when you get into the E, look at Nicolas Cage's E, D. Nicolas Cage, his Y haplo is E.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So somewhere in his paternal bloodline, it had to trace back to, you see what I'm saying?
African.
Right.
Right.
Say what you say, man. Dinka Malley, you didn't break nothing. You didn't. This Negro had freaking daggone Google his Gmail. He didn't have no PowerPoints. This nigga was showing his phone on the screen like, look what it say here. Look what it say right here. See, I won this debate. Look at my phone. Nigga, get out of here, B. You weak. You ain't no scholar. Mandingleberry Malley. Out of here, boy. You get laughed off the stage on every platform you go to. That's why I'm still on the platforms and you ain't. Fix your face and wipe your mouth off.
Hey, you be making me proud, y'all. You a fast learner, my nigga. You went from My nigga, if y'all don't see y'all's evolution, y'all went from precepting Bible scriptures to precepting this motherfucking science, precepting this DNA.
Yeah, already.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful how the mind, how you could tweak the human mind a little bit, and that motherfucker still be at 100. The same ambition.
You know what it was, waiting. I kept finding shit, bro. And one of the things that I found was to see how they really the Egypt and Nubia was one kingdom. And if the Bible stories that they tell, they still the name the name that they use for the Hebrew name, they steal it from the Nubian Habaru. And so once I started seeing shit like that and then learning that they stole all this shit from Egypt and Nubia, it was a wrap.
Yeah, that's kind of how it went for me too, bro. You know what I'm saying? For real. And it's like it gotta be insane to think that the Eurasians came and started this civilization when the languages and the culture showing progression from the south.
Right.
Good to know.
Right. Afro-Semitic languages and stuff.
Right.
That doesn't make
See,
sense.
he didn't want to have all of that included in the debate. He wanted to focus around the genetics because that's the only way he can make an argument.
That's his playing field. You know what I'm saying? That's his playing field.
And also the people that's voting, and they not looking at the facts, they just voting because they friends, like I was saying. Because when you look at the facts, anybody knows. Like you just brought up the African languages that's coming out of there. Those are not Eurasian languages. Those are African languages, showing that the origins of the people have to be African.
Right. I will say this: the craniology thing, you know what I'm saying, that has been widely debunked. And you know what I'm saying, and because of the genetic diversity of Africans, yeah,
right.
you'll see that many different phenotypical, you know what I'm saying, types of craniology. You know, you might as well get into what shape is they feet. That's an Egyptian foot. Like, come on, y'all.
Hey, it's like this.
Hey, look.
Hey, hold on. Let me say this. It's like this. The Eagles, the Super Bowl champs, defending Super Bowl champs, we was great for the tush push. Whether we needed a first down or a touchdown, the damn Green Bay Packers tried to ban what was working for us. So when I hear shit like they debunk it because Africa is so diverse, well, who fault is that, motherfucker? Y'all need to get some diversity.
Right, Waver, you're right. But you heard it on the panel. I asked them that question. Are you aware that the skull morphology, craniometry was debunked due to the African diversity accounting for each type, each skull type?
Got you.
He said, no, that's pseudo.
That's crazy.
So basically, you're gonna take some out of science because it's only working for us.
Basically, because they're finding these Negroid skulls all over the earth. All over the
Here's
earth.
the crazy thing: when you look at so then you can try to apply that to how they try to claim that all Northeast Africa is Caucasian, right? That's a pseudoscience in itself. The Caucasian race, when they start trying to identify all of North Africa, that was a decision they made because they could not they couldn't deal with the fact that they couldn't stop proof. There was too much proof that civilization started around the Nile Valley, right? So now, in order to try to dismiss black folk, oh no, all of these North Africans, they're Caucasian.
Science was definitely saying that. Science was definitely saying that at one point.
They're still trying to say it. They're still trying to label all of North Africa as Caucasian.
Yeah, they know now that the indigenous populations of North Africa were African. Do they have Eurasian admixture after the fact? Yes, but that's only coming in.
Hey, they play games with that North African DNA. That's what they play games with.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Because it's a time limit. It's a time limit on all that Arab shit.
But they do it to Ethiopians as well.
Even with like King Tut, and I think Akhenaten, they tested positive for Y DNA haplogroup R1b. But you have populations in Africa that carry all 1B. If I pull up a picture, nobody will say they're Eurasian.
Right. It's the same thing.
It's filed in the Chadic speaking peoples.
Right.
The
same
Tutsis
thing
and all
with
of that.
Egyptian, like, so black Egyptians, there's a brother, if y'all look up on YouTube, there's a black Egyptian brother back in the 80s and 90s came here to Americas, and they tried to force him to claim Caucasian. You know what I'm saying? Even though
Dr.
he was,
Mustafa Hefner.
yes, and they were mistreating it. They were treating him just like any other black person. So he associated himself with the black African American community and labeled himself African American, and began losing his jobs in the universities because he wouldn't label himself Caucasian, being from Egypt.
Right, they blackballed him.
They blackballed.
You got two things, right? You got back migration and you got invasion. So when Reuben was saying, with that logic of this back migration shit, them going out, coming back something totally different. With that logic, it's like saying that us in America, if we go back to Africa, we are something different. When we know damn well we still black, we still consider ourselves African. So it's more, so like you gotta look at the logic of the arguments we making, and you can't just assume that every nigga that walked out of Africa wanted to fuck something light skinned. You can't just assume that some of these niggas walked out of Africa with their family.
Right. Primarily, you'll see the males were the ones who were kind of taking the women in different areas. You know what I'm saying? You'll see the Y haplos. You know what I'm saying? That Y chrome was very present amongst the Africans who were going abroad and basically taking their girl.
Right.
I still think that's one of the reasons why they hate us so much. Women loved us. Yeah, the China one, brother. Yabadazar, yo, B, that's gonna be a good one, B. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm
interested on what y'all gonna cook up.
Yeah, because I've seen some historical data on the earliest Chinese emperors. You know what I'm saying? And they were considered black.
Yeah, the name. Look, I'm gonna give you some information, and I hope his brother don't try to go. But look, I'm just gonna put it out there. I don't want to say too much. But Zhong Wang, in the ancient Chinese language, when you look at Zhong Wang, it just means black king. If you look at Wang Di or Di Wang, if you look at this in the ancient Chinese language, it means black emperor. Like I was bringing up to him.
Too much more. That's it. That's it.
Don't give too much.
Linguistics, shoot at it, debunk it. Yeah, man, don't give him too much.
Cause really, bro, really, it's like, bro, they just don't want us to know how special we are. But like I was bringing up earlier, I know it may seem like I was all over the place, but when I brought up the DNA series, the Africans have a 9 DNA series. That's the most diverse DNA series in this whole world. Man, everybody else has a 6 DNA series. So that tells us a lot.
Hey, it's like this. We got to get to this understanding. And if you come to this understanding, you will understand our argument better. If any of these people, melanated people that we talking about, was in America during the during the goddamn Rosa Parks era, would they have to sit at the back of the bus or the front of the bus? This is the argument. This determines if your ass is black. This determines if you a nigga or not.
Right.
Let's be real. Let's stop with we ain't got a haplogroup ourselves to goddamn death. We all got a white grandfather somewhere down the road.
We ain't got a tether. I hate that word.
And even if a nigga do date outside the race, nigga, he got brothers and sisters that stuck to the motherfucking code. So what I'm saying is, with these Silky D gonna be proving the Berbers. King we just had a debate on the ancient Egyptians, and y'all gonna be talking about the Chinese, the original Chinese. We talking about these motherfuckers was in Rosa Parks shoes, which they have to sit at the front of the bus or the back of the bus. That's what black is.
Honey Clark, I said black. I didn't say African. I said black. Now, if you wanted to get a little deeper into it, I can go all the way back into the transmigrations of the Dravidians.
Oh, you replying to honey?
Into Asia. Yeah, I'm replying to people already noted. Listen, I studied Chinese culture all my life. I'm a martial artist, right? In Chinese Kung Fu. And even my Sifu, my martial arts instructor, spoke about the earliest emperors of China when they were unifying. There is a book called what is it called? It's called the 10 Kingdoms or something like that, where it was about the unification of how they unified China. You had the Ming Dynasty, you had the Qin Dynasty. Qin Dynasty was the northern, and the came from the Mongols, and the southern Chinese were all dark skinned. They were all black skinned. I didn't say African. I said dark skin, sis.
Hey, you know, it's funny that you say that because I was doing a study and they show you in the Shaolin Temple. They show us teaching the yellow people.
Right. They paint everything as brown. The monks, they were all painted brown skin.
And they
did have the separation because you see the light skin, the northerners, they made the light skin, them whiter skin, and the southern ones, and you see the old reliefs. And
we was even called Kung Lung. Oh, goddamn, but
yeah. Can
look, check this out. Remember, he brought up haplogroup 8O, 1A, or whatever, something like that, and was trying to say it was ancient. Check this out. Just show y'all right quick. Let me share my screen. Y'all see that?
Okay, yeah.
The H4 A1 mtDNA haplogroup of radio-raising lineage has been reported in ancient Egypt in the remains of Takabuti, which is what he brought up, a noble woman from Thebes who lived during the 25th dynasty, circa 660 BCE. That's too late. That's too late.
Right.
Hey man, the crazy thing, we got some guys out there named Silky D and JJ7000, and they go over debates, you know what I'm saying? So they definitely gonna be chewing up this debate for the next couple of days.
They about to go live.
he about to go hard in the paint. You know what I'm saying? But it is what it is. I accept the people vote. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. The panel came with a tie, but the people voted for him. It is what it is. I ain't tripping.
Hey, I ain't gonna lie though, bro. The pseudo shit should stop, bro. Because man, if these people don't know nothing about haplogroups, they just need not to vote. If they don't know what y'all talking about, they should just not vote. Because if you listen to the debate, the nigga told on himself in the debate. He gave you the debate. He said the E family, bro, they didn't have it, the whole Northeast Africa and the Levant. He said that. So it's like then they turn around and say, no, the first pharaohs, they were not Africans, they were Eurasians. That's just like bullshit, not just the people to
it's semantics. It's semantics. You know, okay, so that these were black folk that haplo derived, and they were in Eurasia, but they weren't Europeans. They still
he tried to make mtDNA haplogroup L3 Eurasian, and this is one of the predominant mtDNA haplogroups found in us.
L3.
Oh
yes, God.
Hey, they about to start calling Gullah pseudo. Watch, they gonna start calling Gullah pseudo because Gullah said that those haplogroups was African. They gonna start calling Gullah pseudo. And we know Gullah, this DNA shit, that's Gullah goddamn landmark. Bread and butter.
Right. He told the truth. He kept it real. That's all he did.
I got my J1 from my father's side, or Geechee from South Carolina. How did I get J1? How did I end up with J1? They're gonna go do white man. The white man fallacy.
Well, you know,
right,
the
but
J1
it wasn't necessarily a white man though. It didn't necessarily have to be a white man. Why you got that J Bo?
Right.
Yeah, and you know the crazy thing is, like, bro, when you like me and bro was talking about earlier, when you look at the Natufians, bro, they end up going to the E1, B1B, but then later on you see they end up dispersing until like they end up breeding like the J1 half of those groups. That's why when you look up, you'll see that they're the father of most of the Levant, most of all Levant. That's why when people be like, "Oh, they not Africans," I'd be like, "That's the dumbest shit ever."
That was what I was confused about, the Natufians. He was trying to say that the Natufians were not from Northeast Africa, that they developed somewhere else, or am I mistaken what was said?
He's trying to make everybody Eurasian.
He was trying to make them Eurasian, even though they migrated out of Africa to the Levant. You know what I'm saying? And the Levant is only considered non-African due to geopolitical shit. You know what I'm saying? Geographically, that shit sits on the African tectonic plate.
Right.
So it's Northeast Africa.
The subtectonic of Northeast Africa. That ain't Asia. It don't turn to Asia until you get to the Arabian plate. And even Israel is still on the Northeast African subtectonic plate. So
exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Get your geography right, y'all.
Plus, if you look at the Kabyle Vape, it's some called the Kabyle Vape. It's how the Africans used to look at the world, bro. It'll show you the Africans on that region. That's what the wars of Kadesh was about. They was always trying to steal their region, man. They wanted power of Africa, not just Africa, but everything that Africa had.
Yeah, it's like he's suggesting that Africans left out of Africa populated the rest of the world, but not the Levant and the Arabian Peninsula. You got to make that make sense.
That's absurd. Yeah. That's absurd.
When you go through the studies, the crazy thing you see.
Go ahead.
Yep, I'm gonna go back and watch the whole thing, man. But like I said, I just want to give you your flowers though, bro. I don't care what they said tonight, bro. You did your shit, bro. You know, the people who really study, bro, we see what's going on. You know what I mean? We ain't voting for just because we're cool with people, man. We just looking at the facts of things. And hey, bro, you did your shit. I give both of y'all credit for coming out doing y'all shit. But you overall, like I say, bro, facts always win, and you drop them facts.
It was a well balanced
debate. Yeah, bro. I ain't gonna lie. I went at this debate looking at it win, lose, or draw. You know what I'm saying? Regardless of the outcome, I needed to get the information out to the people, and that was accomplished. So at the end of the day, ain't no loser.
Oh yeah, that's a fact. And like I say, bro, you did your shit, bro. Just bro, these people, bro, it's like some of our people still playing catch up, bro. I'm not saying that to throw no shots at nobody directly, but you know, it's like if I don't know something, I can't even really get in tune with the debate to say I want to vote, because if I don't know what y'all talking about, I got to sit and learn before I can vote. And most of these people telling you they don't know about high-flow groups, they don't know about nothing, but they telling you, okay, we know everybody left out of Africa, but okay, he right, but we gonna vote for Yeshua. We know everybody left out of Africa. We know what you saying is right, but we still just don't vote for Yeshua. And I'm just like, why? Because he killing himself in the debate. He's telling y'all, nigga, when y'all look this shit up, you add up 2 + 2, it's 4, bro. This nigga dropped himself all through the debate.
Yeah, and it's like a lot of people get caught up in the, y'all trying to say y'all Egyptian. Y'all trying to make everybody African. No, we not. You know what I'm saying? I'm Igbo. I'm proud Igbo. You know what I'm saying? Can I show you connections to the Nile Valley? Yes, I can. But I'm Igbo. I'm not claiming to be Egyptian. But at the same token, I'm not about to say that the Egyptians weren't Africans. It's a nation in Africa. The technology, the culture, the languages, and the genetics all developed in Africa. So I don't understand how they're trying to make this Eurasian claim when the Egyptians themselves documented the Eurasians as foreigners.
Yeah, you're right.
Why would they do that if they were Eurasian?
Exactly, because they got them as foreigners. They had the Hittites as foreigners.
they had all the nations listed that were foreigners, and they made a distinction by saying these people were red and hairy people. When you look into the text, it states that these people are red and hairy, and but it's a lot. And when you go through DNA research, the brother kills himself because Neanderthal mixture got involved, it mutated inside of the Eurasian DNA. But you know that's from outside of Africa when you get the Neanderthal DNA. So if he's gonna say that the Neanderthals were the first to come in to be the pharaohs, they would have had to leave out of Africa, and they would have had to lose. It would have had to be so much genetic mutation going on. It wouldn't have had to be a pharaoh for millions of years. So his theological point just don't make sense.
And then not only that, the Neanderthal DNA in North Africa is more prominent in your R1b and J1 haplogroup.
R1s, right?
It's not prominent in the E haplogroup,
right?
You know what I'm saying? And that's another distinction that could be made.
Do we see that in the J? Do we see Neanderthal in J?
Yeah, you see it, and you see it in J. You see it in J. You see it in R1b.
Okay,
but
so
a lot of these
migration. Yep.
Yeah, through back migration. But what people don't understand that anatomically modern Homo sapiens and Neanderthal were at war for over 200,000 years. This is documented science, it's documented in the archaeology, and it's tied to the Nubian Lavello complexes. That is the technology that gave anatomically modern Homo sapiens the edge. You know what I'm saying? And it was pushing Neanderthals back further away from Africa. You know what I'm saying? What it taking some women? Yes. That's what we do.
Yeah, we bred them in. So,
that's what we do.
We bred them in. You know what I'm saying? They would have still been scratching their hairy knees if it wasn't for us.
Yeah. And I just want to say, man, I respect the scholarship overall, bro. I be hearing you when you say certain things, and I heard the other brother who jumped on as well bring out a lot of good points. And man, hey man, look, we learn every day, and like people always bring up the Bible and all that good stuff. And bro was right, I did come from the Bible, but I understand this, bro. Even in the Bible, it tells you that the truth is the gospel. So the truth is, it ain't no virgin births. The truth is, you know what I'm saying? The truth is that they lied to us about a lot of stuff, and that's the gospel.
Yeah,
bro. Even if we talking about the Bible, right? When you go to Genesis and it's talking about Eden, it tell you the river Gihon flowed out of Eden and encompassed the whole land of Ethiopia. So just let you know that the Garden of Eden was
the first geographic region that was named in the Bible was Ethiopia.
Right. So even the Bible telling you this is where life started at. This is where life began.
Which means, how can you get Israel being a chosen nation and having a word first when it says in the beginning was the earth created, and the beginning was the word. So the word would have had to be first word, Africa. That's why I be saying. That's why when I start figuring shit out like that, I was like, man, hold on, let's learn about life.
Reach. Oh yeah, bro. I'm standing 10 toes down on Mama Africa, and I'm gonna defend it until I'm not here no more. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like we got people in our own community trying to take away the accomplishments of African civilizations, whether they be East Africa, North Africa, South Africa. That's irrelevant to me. It's Africa.
It's the Bible
to me. You know what I'm saying?
Brother, look, it's the Bible. I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. Since I jumped out the Bible, bro, I ain't gonna lie. I see it's the damn Bible, bro. Look, bro, think about it. When you celebrate Passover, I was an Israelite for 5 years. We had to keep the Passover. Bro, you celebrating the firstborn, the death of every firstborn Egyptian, right? And then when it come to black people, they say, oh, he's a Hamite, he's a Canaanite, he's cursed. Every time you, and then when you go to the Quran, because you know it's based off the same thing, they talking about raising head black people.
Yep, raising heads.
Even if you're a raising head black nigga, listen to him. Sell two black slaves for one white slave. It's like all these books ain't doing shit but shooting down black people, bro. So
Right.
then when we start doing, nigga, we start hating our own people. I heard other Israelites telling,
That's
I
what's
heard
going
Judah
on.
Nash telling other goddamn black people that they stinky ass Hamites. And I'm like, nigga, we from Africa. What the fuck?
Right. Punk ass nigga. Yo,
I heard
listen,
Judah Nash. You hear Judah Nash be like Day and Pookie. Like, nigga, that's your cousins and nephews.
You know, and then we'll turn around and start talking about how I'm from Cleveland, nigga. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna call somebody. I'll ride on you. Blah, blah, blah. This nigga,
like,
I'm so sick and tired of these retards. I'm so sick and tired of these retarded Negroes.
Hey, that impersonation was on point. I ain't gonna lie.
See the Torah Knights. See, nobody can touch the Torah Knights, right? And everybody's gay and everybody's yags. Blah blah blah. This nigga, man.
This nigga
I'm not black. I'm not black. I'm Negro. I'm Negro. He Negro.
Hey, nigga always talking about nigga cheeks getting cut every time I see his goddamn thing up here. He got, I'm like, man, what's up with this nigga? He got a cause you know his little shit pop up on my feed. Yeah. This nigga got a motherfucker, bro. Every time this shit pop up, it's talking about a nigga cheeks getting clapped or
yo, that's
shit
all
about black
Freudian
people that
slip.
shoot us
I
down.
had tried to tell him that. I told him, I said, why? You're the only person talking about homoerotic freaking fantasies every time you
my soul, bro.
every time you open up a platform.
It is
Everything
extreme
is
too.
your homoerotic fantasies, bro. Like you gotta stop this. You want to try to call somebody else gay, and that's the only
hold
time you talk about chicks getting clapped.
Relax. We live.
We ain't trying to get the platform demonetized.
Hey,
this dude is weird, man.
Hey, Uncle Judah. I advise you to take a DNA test, brother. No matter how much gel you put in your hair, nigga. No matter how much grease you put in your motherfucking hair, nigga. You still a nigga. You still a nigga.
Fried, died, perm.
Hey, bro, him and the nigga. Hey, bro, this the funniest shit. Him and the nigga Martin. And all them niggas, bro, they be on Facebook, bro. I be listening to their comments. Bro, this nigga be with them niggas talking about, yeah, that black dude, these fucking Hamites can't fight. Bro, it be clearly niggas who came in the the damn transatlantic slave trade, a part of them descendants too. I be like, nigga, what makes you different? Did you have a goddamn? I'm trying to figure it out. Is your people from somewhere else?
Judah Nash think that DNA don't matter, that his mama and daddy having sex don't matter. He going by the spirit. He think he a damn Israelite. He trying to run from slavery. He want to run from slavery. He want to run from redlining. He want to run from us getting hung. Judah Nash don't want to accept none of that.
But he gonna cut, bro. He say that remember the truth is the gospel, right? That's even in the Torah, right? In Psalms 119, verse 142, he tells you that the truth should stand forever. When you read it in John 8:32, it says the truth should make you free. I can go on about it's talking about the gospel being the truth, right? So we look at the truth, bro, and he talking about he don't want to look at half-low groups and his daddy and all that good shit. The Bible says prove all things and produce your cause. So he would not be keeping commandments if he would say, no, we're not going to talk about half-low groups. No, we're going to, because we got to prove all things. To prove is the only way we're going to find what the truth is, and the truth is the gospel. Ain't no virgin births. That's a lie. Them people he talking about was Israelites. That's a lie. Them people was Nubian Habaru's, and they had their identity stole from some French people who came up with the name Hebrew by the old French. I'm not, and they see people they stole from Africa. So when I figured that out, I said, why in the fuck would I be out to my own people and be running around talking about these goddamn people who had to get their gods? Their name is coming from our gods. Isis, Ra, and El, bro. Those are African deities.
Right. And Yah, right? So you see all the Yahs in the names of a lot of Ethiopian or African nations. You know what I mean? A lot of those terminologies. And somebody could argue that it's pseudo or it's, you know what I'm saying, it's minutia. But I think that there's more to it than that. You know?
I do too, bro.
Hey, man, we about to get up out of here. I'm going to let everybody do their closing. Starting with you, Zion, you got the flow. I think it's your first time coming on. You got the
Yeah,
flow.
this is the first time I'm on here. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate it. Great debate. You know what I'm saying? I love the energy, love the freaking, you know what I'm saying, the topic, the subject matter. You know, I do see a lot of my haters in the chat, and that's all right, you know what I mean? But next time I pop up, you know what I mean? Hopefully, you know what I'm saying, I'll be able to set up a debate or two. I haven't been debating, I've been doing a lot of discussions lately. So yeah, I love your platform, brethren. You know what I'm saying? I like, share, and subscribe. You know what I mean? And much love to everybody in the chat. You know what I'm saying? Listen, I ain't here to fight against flesh and blood. I don't have no hatred towards my brothers. You know what I'm saying? It's the attitudes and the spirits that I have a problem with sometimes. So if your spirit ain't right and your knowledge, your information ain't right, we might have a, but listen, I love my people all day. You know what I'm saying? That even goes to Man Dingleberry Molly Head. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, JJ and Suki, he love y'all. He love y'all, black. Love you niggas. All right, Uncle. Now we got Uncle Harold last. All right, yeah, you got the flow.
All right, I'm just gonna let you know, good gas on deck. You know what I mean? But yeah, man. So
okay, you got the pressure.
You know, good pressure on deck. But nah, you know, I was sitting here listening, man. Great ass debate. I done had a good time while I was in here. You know, as I always do, bro. Let's keep on keeping up the good work. And like the brother said, we don't hate nobody, man. It's all about the information, man. We ain't got no reason to hate each other. We just bang with the information. But shit, y'all have a nice night, bro. Hey, y'all love to everybody, man.
All right, man. You get ready for that. You get ready for that discussion this upcoming week. Go ahead, King. You got the floor.
Yeah, I want to give a shout out to everybody who showed up and supported the platform and watched this debate. I hope y'all learned something and took something away from it. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, that's why I do it. I bring the information to give it to y'all. You know what I'm saying? To show y'all that they try to belittle African accomplishments, but they can't. Because all of the sciences, whether it be genetics, archaeology, linguistics, anthropology, and the like, proves that Africans are the birthplace of civilization, and Egypt is within that confine. Shout out to Naga, it's still Naga over everything. Shout out to the Bar Loaded, Paradigm Shift TV 314. Shout out to Uncle JJ, Silky. You know what I'm saying? King Naga out this thing. Peace.
Already. Appreciate you, my brother. You know what I'm saying? Good job. We definitely go get some more in. All right, Uncle Harold. You got
What's up with it?
Go ahead and close this out.
Today, everybody learning something new. We're constantly in the stage of learning. We're constantly in the stage of knowledge. It's only if one will accept it. Sometimes people are non-believers, and sometimes they have sources that they try to prove what's right and what's wrong. But then at whose cost is it right and at whose cost is it wrong? Sometimes we have to use common sense to judge on our own how outcomes really can come. But then sometimes if people can show sources and mix with common sense, sometimes that's a winner, and that's gonna always be a winner. We learn every day on Powerful Bills Only. This is a topic that we need to look further, and I look forward to hearing more information concerning this.
Already, Uncle Harold, man, you already know what to do. Hey, appreciate everybody. Like, share, and motherfucking subscribe. And just like that, we out of here.